打野熏天。中单 Scott 小虎。下路 Pace Light。辅助卓 Crisp。2025 LPL 季后赛第7日，北京 JDG 对阵 WBG Tap Tap 即将开始，让我们期待这场精彩的对决。
Welcome one, welcome all to one of the greatest matchups the LPL has to offer. Weibo JDG, a matchup which has always delivered over the last few years. It has always. These two teams have had 5-game series pretty much across the entirety of this modern era of LPL. I'm going to go check that head-to-head again now. Because since 23, these teams have been at it. In terms of their best of 5s, ever since LPL Spring Playoffs, where JDG 3-0'd Weibo, their results are as follows in best of 5s. 24 regionals, 3-2 Weibo. 25 split 1, 3-2 JDG. LPL split 2 playoffs, 3-2 Weibo. And now we get to see them again now. Their game totals all time are 24-24. Their series total, 8-9 to Weibo. Weibo were one of the only teams in the world to have a winning record versus JDG's super team of 2023. This matchup is one which somehow, despite expectations, always is a banger. Welcome in, folks. We're Nymaera Initialise. Ready to bring you some LPL playoffs.
A pleasure as always to be here, folks. Done it again some, haven't they? Weibo Gaming are on an okay run through playoffs. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Into draft we go. JDG banning Qiyana first up. They don't want to first pick it, is what that's telling me. They don't want to give it over to TN on the other side, who, let's be real, realistically was the OG jungle Qiyana player in Pro. Won a world championship for it way back in the day in 2019 on Fun Plus Phoenix. With Doinby, of course, who went home yesterday. Nico Ambessa also off the board. Nico, of course, range engaged champion, which is a big deal for a player like Crisp. On the other side, Azir, Yunara, two big ticket hyper carries, as of course is that Wukong for the jungle of JDG and Shun. Thinking now as a first pick option. Rumble, of course, up and available, and so gets snatched up. Response could be something like the Talir Pantheon. Both of those are up now. Alistair, also a possibility. Reminder that the Trundle still up. Actually, the best pairing with Rumble, but more than fine. Aurora now gets locked in. Instead, giving up some of those more standard options.
Hadn't changed the camera over, so there we go. Hello, how's it going?
Glad to have you all in here. I'll lock in that Alistair to go with it. That does mean the Pantheon and Talia both still up here.
They are, but they have kind of fallen off in priority a little bit. Now, with the Rumble, the Pantheon's fine, but I understand why it wasn't locked in initially, and now you see the Aurora, you think, well, okay, the Orianna wins lane against that, and particularly because it's a takeaway from Scout later into the series, I see the value of this. Scout and Xiaohu have looked solid on the Orianna, and I think particularly Scout has struggled to look solid on anything else. So you understand in terms of nameplates on why that has a lot of value here.
They'll lock in the Jarvan afterwards. They've got their own nice wombo combo to work with between Worlds and Cataclysm. Yeah, quite nasty to manage. What are we going for in our second phase of bans here? As I noticed, Kiana was the first ban out. Just didn't want to give, didn't want to first pick it, didn't want to deal with it. Has become the new kind of flavor of the month for our high carry jungler or high carry jungler type of players. TN, of course, we were noting very good at that, but right now it is more that support focus. Want to get rid of that Rakan. It helps mitigate things like Desire as well. Sivo has always been a big fourth pick option of late as well, so it looks like we're getting rid of some of those standard hyper carry and big engage support.
Those AD carry is going to be important to think about because that's self-peel. You know, the Sivir with the Spell Shield, understandable, that's been banned away. Also, Sivir Jarvan, surprisingly very good because, well, not surprisingly, but very good because Jarvan gives it even more attack speed because of the standard, becomes really, really nasty. I do wonder whether we'd be seeing something like a Xayah. Weibo, I don't know if they want it because Xayah is a little rough into 1 Rumble and 2 the Shockwave of Orianna. You don't really like dealing with either of those ultimates. Maybe JDG take away something else instead, and indeed they do take away the Annie, strangely, because they think that the Aurora might get flexed into top lane away from the Orianna matchup now. So now they might just want to ban away something which could go into that Orianna. Now I see the vision there, JDG.
And Aurora's kind of an okay matchup into the Rumble as well. We've seen a fair amount of it over this split. I see the thought process as you kind of noted, but being down the Azir, being down the Annie, or a little bit thinner on the ground in terms of potential options into mid lane. They'll lock in the Kai'Sa right now, leave themselves with that flex option available. I suppose something like the Victor, if you do want to control mage, probably still an option here.
And on the side of JDG, could slam in, you could go something like Zeri, I suppose, for Pays. It's always an option for him. Depends if you want a lane bully or not. There's stuff like Corki, which is pretty damn good into Kai'Sa, actually. We found that more and more as the split's gone on, because Corki can actually trade against the Kai'Sa if she tries to burst you, because Corki is also inherently quite a good bursty champion, plus you have a good laning phase over him. So that's not a bad lock-in. We've still got stuff like Rel, but they go towards the Nautilus instead. Take it away from the Kai'Sa.
I was going to say, it's normally a very good pairing with the Kai'Sa. So many different ways to give people plasma stacks to you, for you to go diving on. It's not going to be an option. There's the possibility for Galio, which will still be a flex, by the by. They will lock it in.
We're going towards mid lane. Jarvan Galio, good into the Orianna. Allows to get the Orianna, the Aurora versus the Rumble in the top lane as well. Weibo get themselves a little bit of peel and a little bit of follow-up engage as well. Now, there are a couple of immobile people onto JDG. Those solo laners, the Rumble and the Orianna, they can get destroyed by the Jarvan Galio, so I don't mind that from Weibo. And I'm glad that both teams have aggressive options, because when I think of JDG Weibo, I think of frantic, bloody League of Legends, which is very, very close to the line. These teams, when they face up against each other, always go the distance. Pretty much always. I think there's been one best of 5 since 2022 when Weibo formed, which hasn't gone the distance. Weibo, JDG, doesn't matter how powerful either team is at the time. They just show up for each other and make sure that we get the best possible result out of them. See which one, of course, comes ahead of this today. They are even in games all time. 24 and 24 all time. 8 and 9 to Weibo in terms of series. This series really does just take it right down to the wire every single time that we see this matchup. Worlds on the line, of course, with this playoffs and regionals to follow.
Both of these teams would very much like to be on that docket of teams heading the grandest stage in League of Legends.
Which wouldn't even be that far from home.
No.
Worlds in China. Chinese teams love to roll up to that one.
The elimination of both EDG and NIP as well at this point. I believe guaranteed themselves regionals at the very least, so see exactly how this storied matchup plays out one more time. To the riff we go. Crowds have the next say.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎。
破坏。
Done. Maybe about to phase check a little there. Takes default hex. Not too much more. We're looking for a bit more of a concerted look in here. 3v3 possibility.
Quite dangerous to walk up like this. I think that actually the Aurora at level 1 actually has very good value. You can see that JDG, they abandon an invade attempt. They do get the ward down though, and I suppose that's value. That is something worth getting. Tian on the bot side will be starting on his blue buff, and I think Tian is actually had a very good start to the playoffs. And when Weibo knocked anyone's legend down to the lower bracket, a lot of it was because Tian did so well against Tarzan in that matchup of play, which of course we respect an awful lot as JDG are very much not winning the fan vote.
No, they are not.
Jeez, what did JDG do to deserve that? Well,
had a couple rough series in a row, I think.
Sam, I think they've had a couple of rough splits in a row now at this point. JDG, a team which had the hearts and minds of the Chinese fans, particularly in 2023. Before that as well, being LPL champions multiple times. After that, though, they have struggled.
They really have. Been quite reliant on Pays of late, again, to be the hyper carry. He had to do some impressive work on Lucian to get them the necessary wins to get themselves moving forward when things were looking very dicey. Just about took down EDG in a series that was best described as League of Legends.
True. Oh, good. Weibo on the other side of things, of course, got dealt with by top esports. Fair to say.
They did.
Well, I think that's actually a little bit dangerous. That taunt comes through. Xiaohu might actually have the flash hit.
Yeah.
Indeed does. I think the QW plus the auto would have killed that. Xiaohu down the summoner.
Nice play there from Scout. He's been an Orianna player. And shows Xiaohu exactly how well he knows the limits on that champion. Catches the Justice Punch just right.
And it's just always cool to see Xiaohu versus Scout. Now, are these two at the prime of their careers? No. But just for those of us who saw them all the way through that, it's always cool to check back in with this matchup and see how the old gods of the LPL mid lane are faring now. Might get hooked here. Can he force the level 3? No, not quite.
Hook lands though. That makes things a bit more interesting. Crisp takes a lot of damage. Reminder, no aftershock with current supports. If you get hooked by, say, that Nautilus, you will be taking a lot of damage with little ability to mitigate.
Get themselves to level 3 now, but they were fighting at the level 2, and that's where they lost all their HP. Shun is on bot side. Shun, player which has really been trying to hold this team together in his own way too. JDG, one of those teams which you can really struggle to find the actual cause their issues in mid lane now though.
Now gonna get flash flag dragged on top, off will flash the other side, and with no ability to follow up, should be able to walk out here, but down the summoner.
No, I think they knew they weren't going to kill him, but now they even up those summoners in mid lane and potentially force Scout to back on a poor wave for himself. Shun and draw allows Scout to catch the wave though.
We're standing on the wall. Couldn't quite see that, of course, because of the interface in the way, so they might know they're there. And then the camera pans down, and you go, no, they definitely do know that they are in fact there.
We're getting towards the point where we have to think about lane swaps, and the grubs coming after. Dragon is available in 30 seconds. Cole and Tyr in for both AD carries, so they're waiting to gain some value from the stacking.
I might not think about grubs. I might think about
Going to the park instead.
Yeah, that one. I was going to go for something in game, so it was a little less very specifically Hatgood family lore related, but here we are.
Will you learn what that is?
No, never going to tell you.
Some things, you know, you have to deal with not knowing some things, chat. I deal with that all the time in League of Legends. Yeah. Do I know?
Who's gonna say in life?
True, that too. Yeah. Imagine League of Legends being my specialty area, and I still know.
I know. It's kind of
don't know some
eh?
things in that. Yeah, it's the expertise curve where you think you're really smart because you don't know anything, and then you learn what you don't know, and you go, "Oh no, I'm not very smart." And then it takes a long time to get back up the curve of figuring out what you don't know.
Fun fact from Al Capone. Well, because Brackish Brit in chat's been Wololo, we ought to give an Age of Empires.
Did you know that light cavalry are the one unit which can't get converted by priests?
Oh,
in
really?
Age of
I
Empires?
did not know that.
Light
Actually. That's a
cavalry,
great fun fact.
Light cavalry cannot be converted in Age of Empires 2.
I was going to say that they do a really cool Red Bull event in the castle. A pro Age of
They do?
Empires.
That's
yeah.
so cool.
So
Wow.
yeah, Age of Empires esports still lives on, and they do it live from castles.
That is very, very cool. You know what? That is a fun fact. Thank you. That's a good fun fact, sir.
Shout out to Killer Pigeon from who's a fantastic weekly broadcast. of Age of
Nice,
Empires.
very cool. No, Dash was doing some.
yeah.
Dash was doing some Age of Empires.
He is indeed.
I had just recalled that using the time to get a recurve bow. Very good for the component actually. Ult's used on top side. Full wave clipper. Does he have a kill angle here? I don't know. I think with the cooldowns down, less so.
Spirit Abjuration comes on forwards, but needs a little bit more AP before it becomes really threatening. Jaw's about to face check here, who will buffer through the hook. Oh my day, Shahu. Just about out of range of that one. That would have been a bit more interesting with shockwaves available. Either way, out of the river are Weibo. Will JDG get a hold of that Scuttle Crab? The biggest prize for any jungler.
Yeah. Well, it's not quite Season 8 Scuttle Crab where it was the greatest of all prizes. That was the point where if you didn't roam for Scuttle Crab, did he give you 200 gold or something like that early?
It was pretty insane. It was like
something insane. I think it was 100 for the first one, but considering that was a first level jungle cap, insane. And that's why everyone was playing champions where you could just one-shot the Scuttle Crab, and that meant, you know, Lee Sin, Camille, Kiana, which was then led to this meta of one-shot junglers being played for the Scuttle Crab, and then they'd one-shot the laners afterwards because they were the most powerful people on the Rift.
And they didn't need to farm, they just needed Scuttle Crabs.
They just needed Scuttle Crab and then they farm kills. Which meant that we led this... It was really fun to watch for junglers, but really bad for everyone else, where all of the people on the map would just get one-shot by Kiana, Camille, all over and over.
Great.
You know what? Tien was really good in that meta, and we'll see if they can go one-shot the Rumble.
That's going to be a pretty good bounce house, and the shot been downed, and unfortunately for them, Xiaoshu is drunk under the table.
Tien going in towards that bot side gets himself the first kill of the series. There is a bit of a cross map. No grubs yet to help kill these towers, and we'll be just trading some plates along with that kill.
Doing their best to get a hold of that, and you noted that Corky's got a pretty good lane into the Kai'Sa early on. We do see a lot of cull from the Kai'Sa to mitigate, and a lot of like 10 CS discrepancies, and it's sticking relatively true to that right now. Of course, you get things like the tier for cullback trade and all those kinds of things, but right now, that matchup playing out about as expected.
And the interesting thing about it is, I actually think Corky does well into Kai'Sa late too, because if Kai'Sa jumps onto the Corky, sometimes the Corky one-shots her back.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes we see that. It's like the Kai'Sa is expected to win late game, but the Corky gives enough of a question mark where you need to be really careful. Plus with the random chance of a big one landing on random poke trades, Corky's quite good at controlling Kai'Sa for most of the game, so I don't mind seeing the Corky into the Kai'Sa. I've learned more and more about that as the split's gone on, really.
Again, that's always such an interesting discrepancy, because Corky in the non-specific is ironically the AD carry champion with the lowest win rate over time of any AD carry champion. The Kai'Sa matchup, as you noted, is a little bit of a wrinkle to that normal stat.
You know, in solo queue, Kai'Sa is actually one of the worst late game AD carries.
Really?
Yeah, because she takes too much skill to pull off in the late game. She has the potential, but the skill required to make Kai'Sa work in late game
scenarios
is
work?
very, very different. Yeah. Dragon for grubs are traded. Weibo take the dragon. JDG take all 3 grubs. As we're quickly wrapping up things as we yap. That's a better way to say things.
Yeah, that was better to say. I feel like that's a song I wasn't expecting to have to quote on broadcast, but here we are.
Washed ass Poppy.
That's
that's what happens when you don't get the full bill.
Did you see the completely non-coerced Gulhoto apology video?
I did.
Just excellent.
It wouldn't surprise me if we use that for LEC this weekend. It would not surprise me at all. Just very funny how just so early into the year he's like, yeah, this team's not making worlds, they're washed, blah blah blah, and then he's sat there like, okay, all right. I'm honestly good on him for taking the L in a funny way. That's a good way to do it, folks.
I've got a great screenshot of Dylan's reflection with the giant knife.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal.
Oh man. Weirdly, I have a similar video of myself somewhere, or a picture of myself. Not an apology-wise. There's a delivery company in Germany called Gorillas.
Ah, yeah.
And I forgot that I'd ordered something, and I just got this notification pop-up saying the gorillas are on their way. So I took a picture of myself like cowering the shower with a knife, with just overlaid with the gorillas are on their way. Or like the gorillas are coming. When will they arrive? Am I safe? When can I leave the bunker?
Yes, when Harambe becomes the Haram X.
Oh god. Oh god, right. Well, we're getting towards the point where fights are going to become more regular because we have long-range engage from the Jarvan, global coming in from the Pantheon, and of course the follow-up of long-range equalizer, the Galio ult over the top of it too. So as you go into the next few minutes, watch to see how vision gives people advance notice. Where the fights will really happen is when a team doesn't quite have the vision to tell when a player's coming, and by the time they realize it's too late.
I need Rumble to attack Chow for plates from Alex.
Why?
I've got a song.
Oh?
Very silly song, Alex, but I'm excited to share it with you all.
Okay.
But it's only when Rumble gets to hit a plate.
I don't know if that's going to happen, Sam.
No, that would disappoint me, but yes, it's quite possibly
I
would.
can tell.
Yeah.
Xiaohu waveling up was like, is there a song for Orianna hitting a tower?
No, there's not.
I think Xiaohu might die. It's Xiaoshu might dive hitting turret actually if walking too far. Flashing away from the net flag and drag.
I want that plate, can't get it now.
What would the song have been if he did hit the plate?
No, like, it's only if plates fall, you know. If we get to that point, like, we could do it as like a sleeper release if we don't get the opportunity for the drip marketing.
Right, okay. You're doing the TikTok meta. I'm going to show you everything but the actual full song. We'll give you this one clip, which is really good, and then everything else you're on your own.
Yeah, exactly. All chorus, no verse. The League of Legends.
There are so many songs that I'm like, just release the damn thing. You've been putting this on socials for like a full month. There's a really good band which is kind of making kind of new age new metal. It's called Overgrown, and they have one song which sounds really good. Release the damn song. I'm sat here listening to the same clip of it for the last week or so. Give me the juice. Give me the whole thing.
The one I've been enjoying is the sort of like British geezers, like the 70-year-old.
Oh
Rams,
yeah, they actually do release their stuff though.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like they're good. I quite like it.
We have had a lot of ping-ponging waves, folks, and if you hadn't thought about why we're talking about random musical stylings, that will be why. Ooh, Scout thinking about getting an extra plate there. They do have the 3 grubs. The DOT does, of course, give you a little bit more sting on those towers. Of course, if the Rumble were to then go towards the plate, it would be pretty good there. Survive the Roma.
Is Rumble going to be able to hit a plate? Hang on. Hang on.
So, I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure given the wave clear of Aurora.
Violence. That was the most excitement we've had. Rumble's trying to hit a plate. Can we go bot? I need to see.
Well, Aurora's recalling, but the wave has gone with it, I think.
Rumble wants a plate. Rumble wants a plate. Wibble wobble, wibble wobble, Rumble wants a plate.
Is that the song?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my god, really? That's all. Okay, well, we actually are going to see Xiaoshu going under the turret.
See, he wants the plate. It was precious.
Sam, he's actually not hitting the turret. He didn't get to even hit the turret.
He doesn't want a plate.
He
doesn't want a plate. He doesn't want a plate.
He wanted it. He just couldn't get it, Sam. Oh man, I just need something to happen so we can finally refocus on the game. Like, we have 20 seconds till Dragon. I think we're at the point where a contest over Dragon may be likely from JDG. Now, the question is whether Weibo wants it, because Weibo might just say, let's go 1-1, and instead, you know, wait for our own items to come online. Cull is 1 stack off from Light. Couldn't quite get that before this play.
That's actually potentially quite obnoxious. Would potentially have funded part of a next item, something like a recurve bow. Often goes good for a Kai'Sa, especially as you tend to go towards the Rage Blade second. Not going to happen right now. Fighting over mid lane wave control. Banana Bush in control of Weibo right now, but Crisp is going to get caught out for defending that bush. Down for about half. If he had to burn the ultimate down to 1900 HP, and it's just stolen by Shun. Flash out from Tien. And JDG force their way onto the Dragon.
So no kills, but a good smite secure from Shun there. Was a bit of a flip. The empowered Q helping him finish off the objective. And Shun, this is a guy which we were talking about earlier in the year, being like, well, he can do everything but smite. He's turned that around there at least. Tien can't quite win the battle of the most important key available to the junglers. Xiaohu clear out a wave, and we are still, folks, left at 1 kill in 15 minutes. And I do vastly apologize. I was talking about this matchup and how close it is between the two teams. JDG Weibo, they are 8 and 9 in series all time, the 9 for the Weibo, and 24-24 in games all time between these two organizations. Of course, Weibo, a team which appeared in the LPL in 2022, and the grand majority of those series have been very, very bloody, very back and forth. We've had Nexus defenses, we've had steals, we've had crazy outplays. Such a memorable series, such a memorable head-to-head. But in this one, we are starting things off leisurely, slow, glacial, some might say.
That might be a slight movement of the tectonic plates, though, because Light just picked up a kill.
He did. It was an easy kill on to draw. Didn't use either of his summoners, thinking, okay, I'm just dead. And it turns out, if you talk about things being slow, they speed up. We figured out the curse. Herald has now started. Did JDG want to contest? Of course not, because we're still in our ding-dong glacial era, and he versus...
Who's the woolly mammoth? Herald the woolly mammoth being ganged up upon by the power of humanity.
I'm very sad we don't have an elephant champion, by the way. Partly because player irrelevant in EU I need to call him irrelevant. At some point in my career, I need to hear that.
Like a mastodon type creature, pachyderm.
Those are some terms which I have not heard in a while, but they're very cool. I appreciate your usage of them.
I'm trying to think what kind of champion. Do you want
let's be honest,
champion?
let's be honest, Sam. In terms of the players, who is the elephant? Blah blah blah. I mean, who would be the mammoth? It'd be probably one of the older ones, because I'd say. So it'd have to be either Scout or Xiaohu. One of those two. Take your pick.
I mean, he's a giant statue. Maybe he could be a statue of the mammoth.
Well, I'm just thinking about the player, Sam, rather than champion.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. What would Xiaohu look like if he was just like fully covered in fur?
What?
Actually, that's a dangerous thought process.
Sam,
I'm stopping it.
Are we making allusions to the fact that LPL players could be furries? No,
Unintentionally so.
The chance of a player being on screen, being a furry, is never zero.
Yeah, I decided very shortly after finishing that sentence it was a mistake.
And I
apologize.
I'm just so surprised that a game with so many proactive tools has not been that way. You have Jarvan into double immobile, into global, but also into double immobile solo laners. If you do end up getting Xiaohu or Scouts flash down, the capitalization is really, really good. We've not really seen that first step been done yet.
I guess my question then becomes, like, who actually is favored by the slower game state?
I think it's fairly even. You know, I look at range and engage on both sides. I suppose JDG have a bit more range, Weibo have a little bit more engage. But I think both teams can play this out completely fine. In terms of scaling damage, both these teams do damage into the late game. I wouldn't say that one carry completely takes over. Because while I think that Kai'Sa Aurora maybe do outvalue at points, Rumble is always good. And a good enough Orianna ult will outvalue a lot of things. Galio is very useful in this team, for sure. He can even up some of the return damage from JDG. But realistically, this game is about execution and about objective play. And that's the boring side of it. No one's
made any plays to execute.
Yeah, that is a very... Yeah, that'd be the case of things, Sam. That do be the case. I could be playing Uma Musume right now.
You could be.
We have Gemini Cup out right now, and no one's brought enough stamina, Sam.
No one's brought. Did you bring enough stamina, Alex?
I did, and what I also did, Sam, is brought Haru Urara, rest in peace, and she is my debuffer, and she is leaving no prisoners. She's doing very well. She's actually very much helping my team comp right now. I missed that horse, even though I only knew them for like a month. I missed them. I'm glad they brought happiness to people.
Are you going to become a horse rider?
No, Sam, because that takes money I do not have. Right. Scout may take the first turret of the game here.
Oh my days. Action. In they go, looking for the last couple of quite wide. No! Yes! Yes!
We now have 2 kills and 1 turret kill. We have vastly had an uptick in our playmaking and our blood and bricks in this game. Scout, is he going to die for it?
Oh, just out of range of the shielded around. Felt that wind on his bum there, but he's going to be out just fine.
What was it that Foxy used to say? Squeaky bum time? Was that the one? I don't really know why, but yeah.
My personal favourite bit of on-show hazing of all time was prosecuted by Excoundrel and Foxtrot against Goldborn.
So we actually have a dragon. For once, we may actually have a fight.
Okay,
Pays over the wall.
2000 HP. It's going to go down. Potential fight afterwards. Jaw hits the dredge line. Has to flash out of the shield around. Flash from Chris.
Good equalizer.
Entrance. They're going to try and interrupt that hero's entrance. That means Chris goes down. The equalizer, as you said, dangerous. Cataclysm good, but Tien exhausted. Flash away from Breed. Hayes Valkyrieing forwards. Blasco tries to keep Breed safe, but he can't. As Xiaoshu gets to follow him, they murder everyone. Finally, some violence. And JDG are the ones winning out on top of it. Xiaoshu, who should be out to safety with that blast cone.
Xiaoshu is the hero of that fight. As Weibo wanted to go in, the equalizer hit both carries and slowed them down. Breathe and Light not really able to follow up in the way that they wanted to. And then Xiaoshu, of course, chased down for the extra damage too. Atakan has just spawned, so it won't just be the fight over the dragon. It'll be the Atakan afterwards too. Just watch how good this equalizer is, because you have 2 carries and top an AD carry here. And you'll notice the equalizer taps both them and Tien too, meaning that they are slowed heading into the fight. They don't really get a clean play in, and they have to take the long way out of the fight. Breed doesn't even hop over the asteroids kind of style gameplay of his ultimate. Has to walk his way out of danger and can't quite manage to do so. So Weibo don't even get a single kill in that fight.
Actually, ironically, earns JDG the mark towards feat strength. In fact, feat strength in general, they got the early objectives. They just picked up 3 kills. Weibo now kind of blink and go, hang on, we're down a couple thousand gold. What's going on? The game sort of breaks towards JDG after that play.
It's not the biggest gold lead, but it is a gold lead. And Weibo, I would have thought they'd be much happier with those kind of first fights. With the Jarv and Galio, looked like it was landing pretty well, but their carries were out of position. Sadly, the Herald not even able to hit the tower here.
Credit to Jor and Shun as well, making sure that the interrupt on the hero's entrance came on through as well, so Chris was sort of left out with no follow-up that he was expecting. He was hoping for a Kai'Sa, he was hoping for a Galio, he was hoping for a Jarvan, and all of them were around, and none of them had the tools to get in the end. Potential shove up towards this top side now as well.
He still has both summon. It's quite hard to get the best out of him. You see that he's walking up pretty brazenly, just about to get himself the Muramana on this transformation. There you go. Equalizer used to chunk him out.
Clutch Ghost, by the way, from Chris. Just about got him far enough away from the dredge.
This is good from JDG. What it means is that the HP is a little lower. They have 3 grubs, remember, so they can take a load of damage off of this tower. Even single auto attacks the DOT afterwards, takes a chunk off. Do that once more, maybe the turret falls.
Again, got a couple minutes until the next objective, so you can afford to be a little bit more profligate with your ultimates.
What does profligate mean, sir?
If you're being profligate, you are being wild, careless with your resources.
That's a good word.
Being profligate with money. Spending is as you please.
I've been profligate with Umamusu.
Yeah.
We'll get to this turret again. The HP is enough for them to threaten JDG. I think they probably could have taken the tower on that. Going to lie, I would have thought that would have been okay, but I suppose the threat of Alistair with the Galio over the top, a little scary. So not cleanly taking the tower on that go of things. 2,000 gold lead now to the side of JDG. Dragon up in 2 minutes. And the Baron spawning soon as well. We're at our 2 item spikes for almost everyone in the game. Xiaoshu is likely going towards something like the Bloodletter's Curse to make sure that double AP solo laners get good value. Also will very much help against the Galio, who stacks a bunch of that too. And Weibo, they need to get a good fight soon. I don't think they want to allow JDG to extend the lead which they have. I know that there's not necessarily a scaling advantage one way or the other, but you do not want the gold to make issue of things.
Soul Point would still potentially be available for Weibo, who did get that second dragon, by the way. It was them who picked that up. Through mid lane we go. Breed tries to clear the wave with the weirding, won't be able to do so. Turning to the scene of the climb phase. Did walk up mid lane there quite brazenly. I wondered whether Tien might be considering an engage, but won't happen. 50 seconds now on Dragon, and Weibo Gaming now in prime position really in the river, for all that they did lose mid lane turret as kind of part and parcel of the trade that JDG made.
Okay, so trying to work though in towards bot river. The problem is Dragon is spawning just a little too late. So too late for Weibo. If it had spawned right then, they would have had an inside angle towards it. Instead, they're going to have to push out mid lane again and then go towards it. JDG recalling before the Dragon spawn, interestingly. They're going to make sure they're back out onto the map for like the largest amount of power that they have. They might give over some vision control and some entrance to the bot river though. Yeah, because they recalled, they're giving up these wards. That's what's happening. So basically saying the items we're getting, which is stuff like the Hex Drinker for pays, will matter more than the vision that we've lost to get them.
Again, on the back of the pit will flag and drag to take out the blast cone. Of course, Shun's got flash and Grand Starfall, so quite hard to keep the Pantheon out of the pit.
Those Bloodletter's Curses we were talking about just came in for both top laners actually, and Weibo They'll be hoping they can get a better fight than they did last time. The last fight really determined by Xiaoshu hitting the equalizer onto the squishies in the back. They're onto the dragon now at JDG. Can Weibo mount themselves a fight here? They're a little out of position.
Just flipping it. Breathe on a potential flank angle. Has been warded off by Xiaoshu. 3k HP on the dragon. TM with the flag. The drag available. Over the wall goes Breathe, and the dragon is just taken by Shun. Second now for JDG as they need to back away from the Between Worlds. And Weibo Gaming unable to pull the trigger, really. But out. In comes the equalizer, though. Gets a good chunk onto Breathe. He's now potentially in danger. Has to flash on out. Redemption coming on forwards. Xiaoshu potentially looking over the wall. Tien goes in with the flag and the drag, but gets knocked up by the depth charge. Goes down for the Cataclysm fully armed. Xiaohu goes in with the hero's entrance, but he's only entering into a battlefield in his own demise. Over the wall goes Light with the killer instinct. Does get two. Pull back with the shockwave, and his moment of glory is quickly snuffed out.
That's a good effort from Light, but JDG are just more coordinated in the fight. Crisp fails his headbutt pulverize at the start of things, which allows JDG an easy kind of slow rundown, forcing JDG to, Weibo rather, to respond in bits and pieces rather than all together. JDG, their carries are in a great spot now. You look at Orianna, the great gold lead. The smite went the way of Shun, and then watch this after, you know, they use the Aurora ultimate, rather, and it doesn't do that much. No one's getting passive propped onto them, and Chris fails his combo. It means that his pulverize is down as well as his headbutt. Breathe, of course, has to flash out early because he'd used one of his escape tools in his ultimate just before. And you can see just these little bits and pieces engaging in drips and drabs. I think Xiaoshu does another great job flashing over the wall to provide his thread of the flame spitter, splits up the team again. Xiaoshu is having a good game here.
That's despite being down 40 or so CS to Breathe. Breathe had laned really well, but we're not really focused on top lane laning aside from my Wibble Wobble song, which was great, by the way. But what has turned up in the fights has just been JDG being a lot more concerted. Yes, the game has been slow. It's been a little boring, I'm not going to lie to you, but it has been JDG favourites.
As now Light does have 3 items. So does Pays on the other side, because he has the Maw of Malmortius. But now having the Terminus for Light, perhaps he can be the guy that can dive onto people.
That 3-item spike, very potent potentially, but you do need to actually get a solid Cataclysm Galio combo or something, because I haven't seen Weibo actually pull off an aggressive or even defensive combo successfully so far. Pretty much all of them have been, oh dear, the person I'm trying to protect is dead, or I've been interrupted trying to use my abilities.
Baron now spawned, and while this is going on as well, first game over here, LCK has got a hell of a good series going on over there right now, I hear, between Genji and KT. So hopefully we get some drama over there, and then people can come and tell us about it when we're over here as well. Seeker's now bought for Xiaohu, has himself level 16. He's down 2,000 gold, but the Galio, I suppose his ultimate will always be a Galio ultimate and have some value.
What happens if it wasn't? What happens if it was like suddenly
like, well, that
yeah, what happens if like, I don't know.
Wait, isn't that basically what happens when you, what was it? Not Ultimate Spellbook, when you can replace your summoners with someone else's
ultimate.
Yeah. Like Nico Nocturne was the most broken thing I have ever seen.
Okay. So I'm not asking for like actually good combos here, right?
Bad ones. Okay,
I'm asking for like really silly combos. Like if you were going to combine champion, give a champion ability that would just be silly.
Sam, almost everyone gets worse with Scout just missed the cannon there, by the way. Almost everyone gets worse with Zoe ult. Because Zoe ult is just it is so useless. It's really quite bad.
I feel like Ezreal with it could be really funny though. Just hop forward for better Qs and back again.
Yeah, he's one of the few which might do okay with that one. But most people, again, because it brings you right back to where you were, it's really quite hard to use. Light gonna walk in towards mid lane, has the E upgrade, but uses the barrier to try and clear the wave.
Oh my days, gets to the wave and actually leaves someone split up on the other side. The Scout just about to find, he got a good shockwave, flashes out, stays alive. The hero's entrance comes on through, the knock-up in, but the equalizer tags Light. He's burning, not quite dead. Over comes Breathe, looking for a counterpunch of his own, goes between worlds. The problem is that Xiaoshu is sending him everywhere else. The Cataclysm comes on through from TM, but there's no follow-up anymore. All of the cooldowns have been burned.
Light makes a huge mistake going for that mid lane wave clear and losing his barrier and his HP. If he had the HP to follow up onto Scout, that would have been a one fight for Weibo. That could have been the play back into the game, but Light's misstep and JDG and Pays' punishment sees them not only getting the kills, but getting the Baron as well.
Scout has the Medjay's and the move speed, guys. I'm telling you, Phase Rush and Medjay's flashes out. It's great value. Look, this is what you get for having a Seraph Shield, a Command Protect, and your summoners available. They see Light and try to punish him here. They just caught him on vision while he was supercharging. That's why they had an idea where it was. It was actually blind from Page with his Frost Bomb. Good work from him. And then they try to full combo onto Scout, but Redemption comes on 40, flashes out of the enemy Redemption. They all go in, but now all the bruisers are here, and Xiaoshu just gets to equalize them.
And Light just doesn't have the HP to fight. We're talking about, well, you know, a 3-item Kai'Sa, maybe that can be the DPS they need. Not really in this situation. And exhaust onto Tien as well means that the Jarvan has, sadly, not really had the impact in that fight which he needed. Can't really say the Jarvan's had much impact outside of 1 or 2 early plays. Now JDG really taking off.
It does feel like Jarvan is, post a certain point, a bit limited in terms of his ability to one-shot someone with current builds and play patterns. I did cast recently an Opportunity Jarvan,
yeah,
which in NLC, and that was one-shotting people. That was very funny.
Yeah, you do run the risk of, sadly, if you ever get caught not one-shotting people, you die very, very quickly. You know, some people out there remember stuff like Ravenous Hydra Jarvan top and the like.
Do you remember Ray playing that for C9 top?
Yeah. Apparently, he's coming back into pro play, by the way.
Oh, congratulations to him.
He's doing his, he's done his military service, so he's coming back into pro play potentially next year. He's looking for a team. See how successful he is. JDG doing the slow roll in now Weibo, really failing to get the engages that they needed, and now behind so much gold, it's a problem.
I mean, you've got a 4-item Corki who's got a more Malmortius to deal with the very heavily magic damage team, actually. Even the Kai'Sa building mixed damage, right? And then Paze gets the Valkyrie away. Redshine on the wall goes wide, but Jorg getting into body block a lot of this. An attempt there from Breathe, who just doesn't hurt Paze with all the magic resist and the Redemption coming on through. Breathe nearly burning out the Equalizer. Tien and Chris desperately low. Kai'Sa takes out a Nautilus. That's the best they can get. Flash into Ignominy for Xiaohu, and 4 members fall. Breathe on the fountain with no tools left. It's a slow game. It's a grindy game. It's a boring game. All the same, it's a Jingdong game. They will be winning game 1.
Xiaoshu's Rumble, so impressive in this first game. The Equalizers have met the answer to the equation that they need. The Nexus will fall. JDG will take an early lead in the series versus, I suppose, their rivals in Weibo.
Update the game score, at least for part 1 of the series. Calm, collected, and just much more convincing. I feel like whenever the objectives came around, is the honest answer. Did we see a good Weibo combo that game? I hesitate to say we did.
No, I don't think so, and that is not what you want to see from a team comp, which so obviously wants to play one way. You have the Jarvan Galio with the Kai'Sa flying in, and they couldn't make that work. I don't think the Aurora provided much value either. I think that the early game was slow, and I think that Weibo, if you're going to play that game slow, you must then make things pay off in the team fights. They couldn't quite do that. And that's our game 1 done.
Indeed it is. How you doing, Al?
I'm tired, Sam. I'm tired. So many series of LPL, back to back, day after day. It has definitely taken a toll on me. But we are close to the end now, Sam. We are close to the end.
See the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone who supported us across this split and this year. Of course, we are Alex and Sam, Nymaera Initialise. We cast the LPL because there's no official broadcast anymore, and we thought you might enjoy to hear it and hear about these teams, especially in this playoffs run. It has been a hell of a time these last 2 years, kind of filling in the gaps, because of course last year half of the LPL games were not broadcast, and now all of them are not broadcast by an LPL English kind of official stream. So yeah, it's been a very enjoyable experience, but it has been such a slog. We have had hundreds of games this year, and we're getting towards the end of it now. We'll have this, there'll be regional finals after the grand finals as well, and then we'll figure out what happens after that.
What happens right now, though, guys, is that you hit the subscription button on YouTube. You hit the likes button. You add some comments to the video. Thank you for those. Oh, I see you, Moo. I see you, Castle. I see you, Derek. Pleasure to see you. Thank you, Perfect, as well, for the very kind words. Of course, Twitch chat as well. For those of you who are Twitch users, consider subscribing. Those of you who have not, it's incredibly helpful to us and our ability to keep doing the things that we are doing. If you are enjoyers of the LPL, please do come and give us some love where and when you can. Thank you to all of those that do. On top of that, you can donate to the Ko-fi, and you can also have a look at League Mastery, which is pretty awesome as well. It's a new website, new platform being put together to help teach you more about League of Legends and how it all works, be that from being a one-trick, be that from getting coached by coaches like Hedon, teaching you systems and mindsets and all the kind of things that go through being just better holistically and improving at the game. And of course, number 3, you can, most importantly, learn how to be better at esports, specifically broadcast work, casting work. We've got a course up there to teach you how to be better casters, which can be really, really awesome, put together by myself and Alex. I'm still in the middle of making some more of my videos, which should hopefully be up very soon. But do click on that link, do come and say hello, and come and enjoy that one as well, which can be a pretty awesome way to support us and get yourself some really cool value at the same time. There we go. Oh. Ooh, I just saw the Game 4 result from Gen G KT. No spoilers. Oh. Oh. See if the bot is alive. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. See where MVP is as well. Need to run some ads shortly as well. Whereas I can watch both Twitch and YouTube before happens to better than 2. It's true, Marco. It's a great way to come support JDG 3-1, you reckon? I can see it, Andres. Here's our MVP. I'm imagining pays. Yep. 100% KP, lots of damage. Did the thing. I feel like Xiaoshu could probably have deserved it, to be fair. I think his Rumble was probably the more clutch player, but he was down quite a lot in lane, I guess. We'll see what the vote split is. That catch on Kai'Sa when she was invisible as well was really, really clutch. Yeah, he just does a lot of damage, doesn't he? And just skates away from every engage ever. Tien and his ankle's broken. Pays be gliding. There you go. A few... Actually, there was no votes for top. I thought those equalizers were really good. Shun played a pretty good game, I'll grant you that, but I don't think it was... Maybe the observers really rated Shun, so I'm assuming it was just very good map moves from him. Let's run those ads, shall we? Turn the camera off briefly. While I chill out, but briefly.
关闭车窗，空调调到22度。
好的，都搞定了。你好，很高兴我们重新认识。
把生活玩出新意，
自由自在，灵感随行。
用个性的方式画世界，
让眼界。
I need more coffee, folks.
让远在天边，近在眼前。
让每一刻精彩不再等待。
Lele. Third one, do you want to make one?
上京东搜游戏台式机，游戏主机低至8折抢。
Context on game 4. I don't want to spoil the chat, but that scoreline.
Oh, Jesus, okay. Jesus! Well, now I need to see what's happening on that screen.
I know.
되었던 것 같은데 이번에도 입사는 없을 것 같습니다. 최선을 다해 플레이하는 거 아니에요? 챔피언으로 참가했고 챔피언으로 떠날 계획입니다.
여기는 LCK가 아니고 월즈이고 월즈는 T1에게 적합한 무대라고 생각합니다.
5번째 우승은 여러분을 위한 것입니다. 미래를 원한다면 증명하세요.
Wait, I'm 44 out of 45 and I'm just waiting for that one day Alex starts the stream for a few minutes and ends it on a test. So by the way, when LPL is like off for the year, I am going to start streaming some other stuff. I'll try and do it within similar time span, like time slot rather. But, you know, we'll see. Variety? I might do some variety, yeah, we'll see. I will say though, like, I do expect to drop followers and viewing average and stuff just because people don't tend to watch me for variety, right? They've never watched me for that before, so we'll have to be building some stuff up again. Someone has a Saiyan Sky? What? Have they actually trained them up for fucking Gemini already? That's ridiculous. So I'm just doing a CM in the background. I might, I'll put maybe the next few on screen in the next break.
我觉得他们的就是在中期10分左右的变奏其实做的蛮好的，然后突然去集合进攻边线，这一点我觉得是需要注意一点。然后打他们，我觉得是我们只需要前中期对抗做得好的话，自然会有个好结果。其实，在当前版本，我觉得英雄多差不了太多。然后，我觉得天的前期联动和队友的配合做得蛮好的。然后在前中期这种对抗性要做好吧，然后打好架。我觉得目前这个版本因为有换线嘛，然后会让局势更加的不一样一点，然后更加需要跟队友的之前的提前量联动和配合和交流，要这点做得特别好。我自己的话就是放松吧，然后做好游戏内容的一切吧，打好。
Hey Angie, how's it going? 130 stream streak, Jesus.
然后平常心。
Hey Sam. She's got cool hair. I don't know what she's done to the back of it, actually. Very cool. $45 straight from John, I appreciate you. I was saying hello to people in chat. By the way, on my Gemini meet, I'm currently 21-4. I'm doing really good at that. Into our draft for our second game of the series. Tien not going to be able to get his Kiana again. He's been very, very good at that champion. Kind of tier listy bans now, not surprising. So what champions are currently up and available, which are very important? We still have Talia, we still have Annie. In terms of top laners, I suppose we have the tanks available. There is Trundle, if that becomes a factor. In terms of jungle, still have Shinzao. We might have a failed draft though, because Weibo just missed a ban. And often that does mean that a mistake has happened, or Sivir banned is... Well, okay. Was that a I don't know what to make of that. Weibo have missed a ban. Now, do they lock in a pick? If they lock in a pick, then it's legit. Suppose it is then. Unless the picture is one which... I think it might just be a failed picture. It might be something like Shinzao's new portrait, which might have failed on there. The Talia locked in, the Annie on the other side. Likely to come in now, thank you very much, Sam. Don't need to lock it in now, though. Can lock it on 3 if they need to. Zaya for pays. What does that signify?
Missed ban from Weibo as well?
Well, I don't know whether it's a graphical error, because no one else reacted to it, so I wonder if it's something like Shinzao's new splash art or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. If we hear any words, we'll let you know.
Now, in terms of jungle picks, I mean, if the Shinzao is available, it's powerful. I think Poppy has been very popular here within LPL. Wouldn't surprise me to see that locked in fairly easily. Weibo thinking about Ezreal. You can Ezreal Karma if you really want to bash lane. Ezreal Rel if you want to go more even, but just have decent mid-game spike with all comers. What does groggy mean? It's my first time reading that word. It kind of means like you're tired or drunk or kind of out of it. You're kind of... Yeah.
So the best description is, you know when you wake up in the morning and you're still kind of half asleep and your eyes are a bit closed and your brain's a bit fuzzy and not quite working? That's groggy. It's those kind of moments when you're still coming back to full consciousness and alertness.
Zombie-like. Third pick for JDG. Do they want to lock in mid lane now? As we said, the Annie likely to get locked in, but it didn't have to get locked in on 1-2, and there it is on 3. Bans now coming through for our second round. Both teams got very good mid-gamey spikes right now with strong lanes. These are quite, versatile trios. I wouldn't say they've committed to any identity. Both teams have a little bit of range. I suppose Weibo slightly out range. Weibo needs some hard CC from somewhere. In fact, I wonder whether JDG ban away something that can help set up that CC a little bit more. I wonder whether Breathe goes towards Sion or Ornn. With the Trundle ban away by JDG, it makes it much easier to do that. Xiao Shu might even lock in a tank on 4, Wouldn't be awful for him. Not like the Talia and the Ezreal are fantastic at killing tanks. They're fine, but they're not hyper tank killers, really. On the other side for Weibo, what do they want to ban away from JDG? Do they want to ban away some front lines? The Neferi away from Shin. Now, that is surprising. That is surprising. I wouldn't have considered that a priority ban at all. Tarzan had a fantastic game on it just yesterday. But again, I wouldn't call it completely meta right now. And there is the Poppy we thought would be quite strong, just in general right now, even though there's lacking Dash champions. Banned away.
Worth noting as well, go looking to see whether LPL English had any insight from the Chinese end of what the best ban was, but no, not there. Quick heads up on stakes. Again, both teams are locked for regional playoffs. However, the loser is guaranteed 6th. That is the highest they can reach.
So they would have to win 2 best-of-5s as the lowest seed, which means they have less side choice. They lose the game of 1 side choice in both of those games to make it through to Worlds. So it would be an uphill battle. Now, of course, Weibo have done that before. That's how they made it to Worlds 2023. In fact, that's how they made it through to that. Knocked down top esports. And then EDG. I cast that over in Xi'an. It was a hell of a time, I tell you.
A great time. There goes the Vine out for JDG. Big pick comp now between Annie, Vira, Calm. We've got a little bit additional follow-up from somewhere, because otherwise you're very reliant on pace to do damage, which is no bad thing per se. It's had a pace. Unintentional pun, but there we go. I'm gonna own it. He just came off an MVP game, had a good Corki backer performance. Let's see what Weibo want to lock in here. They've already got themselves a lot of more dominant bot side.
Back in the day, you'd have Talia jungle with this combo.
Very true.
Now it's in solo laners now. We don't really see the Talia jungle anymore. There is that Shinza. So I guess it was just a missed ban at the start. I'm just gonna imagine it's that. Who was the B3 ban? We have no idea.
Assuming missed at the minute.
We're assuming it's a missed ban, because I was wondering, oh, maybe it's new Shinzao splash art not working, but there he is, so it can't have been that. Weibo, very early game composition. JDG, fairly early game themselves, actually. But if you lock in the K'Sante, it gives you a little bit more brute force in the front line to say, okay, you're not killing the first target as easily. Weibo really need to blow out lanes and get into those first skirmishes quick and fast. Drafts in for our second game. Weibo did not get anything going in the early game before. Got an ambulance in the background. See who that's for. Whoever it is okay. Jokes aside. ambulances often mean someone's not having the best time of things. Weibo, that early game composition, looking to bounce back against JDG with a little bit more front to back. A little bit more.
Could you imagine like a party wagon? You just summon a party, so it's not like you hear the alarms. It's like, oh, it's not the ambience.
I'm not going to lie.
That's the party
I believe that's already a thing, Sam. You say, could you imagine? I believe that's just a thing.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just like the Ghostbusters sound as they come in.
Oh, hey Esther, how's it going? And welcome in Firefly as well. Why did they miss a ban? We don't know. If we have information, we will tell you. We'll get the coaches fist bumping, and we'll get ourselves through into our second game of the series.
So, last game, lane priority wasn't fantastic. Weibo just in general didn't find a particularly great angle to pull the trigger, or even the trigger in general. It's a little bit awkward from them, it has to be said. Deservedly end up losing game one after a very glacial early game. This time around with the shove of the Ezreal Khan with the Taliyah behind. Perhaps they can turn things around. JDG allow them, eh? On to the riff we go for our second game of the series. Gage at the level 1. Xiaohu's going to have to flash. Stays alive for a second or two. Can they get the last auto? They can. Pays with first blood. Ghosted heal now burn. Scout potentially dangerous. DN will audacious charge it. Looking for the 3 talent strike passive. Can't quite get it. Now they're getting turned around on themselves. JDG get the kill, but a little lower on the health bars on the whole here. Chris looking to find an interrupt on the back. Can't find the soul flow. JDG back away. Prevent. Easy interrupt. Will just about get that reset, but of course there's the double back available. Should be able to reset anyway.
So first blood to JDG, summoner down on Xiaohu, and Weibo with the early game comp take a loss at the level 1. That is disaster for them. I mean, you only use some minor summoners from JDG. It's the ghost and the heal from draw. That's it. They don't burn any flashes. Xiaohu will get back into lane, but Scout doesn't miss a single CS here. So a massive victory here for JDG. I suppose the one thing is that Scout started the W, not the Q. That's it.
Again, you have burned the teleports. I suppose if Xiao can get a chunk, maybe that can help even up that lane a little bit. But for now, Pays gets back, gets early boots into the Ezreal Karma for some better skill shot dodging apparatus.
Also, just able to chase down for the extra auto attack. If you get... it would have been a doubly start from Pays and Draw as well, likely. Draw started with his own. Not sure what Pays did. So maybe some laning options available for Weibo, given the starting skills of JDG. Looking at the win rate for Weibo on all of their champions. Pretty successful in their bot lane. The rest of it's a little bit more mixed because Weibo, on the whole, a little bit more mixed with their own results this split.
3 and 8 for the Shinta for TN is not great news, actually. I was expecting a little better there. Light, either way, mid-jungle, still a little better than their history would otherwise predicate.
Just in general, their win rate has been quite low. JDG on the other side. You know, Xiaoshu, I think he's a great Cassante. He's 3 and 5 on it. Sometimes the stats lie by omission, and they don't tell you officially, no, they were good at this, but, or they have great results in this. However, JDG, what's the, oh god, it's the Simpsons quote. Short answer, yes, yes with an if. Long answer, no with a but.
No with a but.
The Reverend dude. Oh, there were some good quotes from that. For those of you that didn't really grow up in the era of The Simpsons, you missed out on something special, I tell you. It was pretty good back in its heyday. Got some good push in from all of Weibo's lanes. Weibo have 3 lane push. That makes that level 1 matter all the more, actually, because if they didn't have the early level, the early advantage, you could imagine that TN just walks into the enemy jungle and makes a mess of things. Shun using that Q to get in towards topside scuttle if you can. Spawning now. Shinzao on the bot side, and despite the fact that Renekton and the Taliyah have their waves pushed, it should still be a 1-for-1 scuttle trade.
Will be the case for now. Again, get that skull grab you were mentioning. Still Karma, still got shove, still feeling they've got some control over the lane. See how well Pays and George do about picking up this wave under the turret. Already lose 1, unfortunately, 2 turret shots, but the rest looking relatively clearable. They do see Tien resetting. George's going to interrupt it and then battle dance out to safety.
Gets the free heal as well. We love to see those. And Weibo, not really getting that much done in the first 2 levels right now. So we have to ask some big questions about them in the next few minutes, particularly when it comes to first dragon spawn, when grubs come up as well. Can they land the early game fights that they couldn't in game 1? It is even more important in this game. Last game was like, well, you know, neither team's committing to it. That's fine. Now it's Weibo need the early fights. Their composition requires it.
Shun's already managed to get a reset off. So it's now here with a bit more in inventory to help the bot lane clear out and get that reset as required. And the Mystic shots, but that will be a pretty nice shove on in and a reset allowed for JDG's bot lane.
Got quite low HP in this mid lane. As you were saying, the teleport being down meant that he couldn't really reset, and there was some chance for a lane advantage. Hasn't really happened that way. The scout has got low HP, which means that he's not really going to be in position to fight around something like, you know, Tien walking in for a raptor steal, or of course the dragon which is spawned.
I mean, it's the worst possible option for a breakfast, isn't it? No HP source. What are you going to do? Your breakfast sandwich is going to be absolutely empty now.
So I agree for a breakfast sandwich, but, you know, I wouldn't put HP... So hang on a second, flash forward for the stun.
Flash incinerate, and then the disintegrate after. Seismic shove to disengage. Flash grand entrance. Flash over from Shun, looking to get the last autos. And Pays on the roam, looking to lane swap. Gets value. Tien forced to flash away from the potential feather bolt, and another kill goes the way of JDG.
Well, it takes 3 flashes, but they get the kill, and JDG punish Xiao, who, again, Scout's old enemy. Taken down twice now in this game. Scout, I thought he wouldn't be able to fight, but Annie just needs to provide that stun. And that sets up the whole sequence of events, and sadly Tien, despite the early power of the Shinzao, could not get the value down.
Stack up some and Tofo strikes in the top side. Breathe on the Renekton, a staple of his.
Xiaoshu hitting level 6 now as well. Ultimate in the tower. Scout getting the cleanse out of light, and of course that's something you can return to perhaps a little bit later. That is going to make Draw's life a little bit easier if you can hit the level 6 in the window while that's down. Dragon's now spawned, and Grub's getting a little closer. I don't think... Oh, I think it's a decent flick back actually. Draw, can you make it out? I think you can do, especially with a heal. You should be fine.
Nice work there. Good read from Xiaohu, don't get me wrong, but they're not in any real threat in the grand scheme of things. Doesn't mean he's going to have to reset those. That probably means Dragon for Weibo a formality at this point.
Weibo taking the chunks around the place to say, alright, level opens up for the Dragon. Now, can they get towards the Grubs in a minute as well? We've got no teleports up for Weibo. Do you have one for Scout, one for Draw on the other side of JDG? Do you want to quickly move around the map? Xiao, who not able to land the flick back, but did land the big rock onto Pays on the worked ground. Tien potentially looking to contest on this blue buff now. We'll see it going down. And I don't think it's going to get to a low enough HP where Shun can immediately smite it. Tien, Chris, Shun, Draw, anyone else coming into the play? Scout is coming over, doesn't have the ult, but does have the stun.
Weaver's Wall now allowing for a potential engage from Xiaohu. 700 HP, won by Shun with the smite. So all it leads to is a couple summoners blown. No one being really dead.
I have to cast my eyes over to the LCK Game 5 happening right now as well. Man, I have to say, one of the things that is both beautiful and terrible, beautiful for you, the viewer, is that you can open up, at this time slot, 3 different major regions and get some really good entertainment. LCP, LCK, LPL, all happening in, I suppose, European early morning, and, all kind of overlapping. For us, as the broadcasters, we have to sit here going, goddamn, there's some great League of Legends here, but I could be watching 3 of these games at once. That'd be great. I used to do that, actually. In fact, I used to do that on stream occasionally. I'd do the ADHD gaming, where I'd have, you know, Subway Surfers in one corner, 2 different streams in the other ones. Pop back, does he ult him through the wall?
Thought about it, but you're actually already on the right side of the wall. Meant they didn't want to drag him away from that potential angle, so it'll just be the Dominus procced, and Xiaoshu looking to reset anyway.
Wondering whether he'd try and pull him back into the turret is the thing. Grub's now spawning. Xiaoshu doesn't have teleport. With him not committing to that kill there, I think Weibo will now pick up all 3 Grubs.
And did get the early dragon as well, so Weibo actually with a better start in terms of the objectives this game, even if JDG are the ones with the early kills. The Goldie's not that spectacular here, it has to be said.
Yeah, and going to finish off that 3rd one. And while the gold lead isn't that spectacular, getting 3 Grubs and a dragon is important.
It isn't. Boots been completed for Pays on the Zaya, who got the early brown bags reminder off that first blood. And use that to help mitigate what we would normally expect to be a significantly more problematic lane. Ezreal Karma, a bit obnoxious for, say, a Zyra Khan, just outranged, is the honest answer, even if you got all-in options. And even though there is a slight CS lead to Light of about 10 or so, that's good news for him. It's not really led to anything resembling a meaningful gold lead.
And that's a problem. That is a problem. Now, I think that you can use the objectives which you have to good value. It's not a bad thing to have them. 3 grubs, the dragon, important, but you do need to also just have fighting power. And my worry is that you get a little bit further into this game, I don't really see how you deal with a Cassante with the Xayah behind them. I don't think you can cleanly get onto both of those. Well, deal with the Cassante and also get into the Xayah at the same time, particularly with Xayah being piloted by Pays, who's been so important for JDG, and Xiaoshu piloting the Cassante, who I think has been JDG's MVP for this split. You go back earlier in the year, before Xiaoshu joined. Of course, JDG have made a bunch of changes this year. They changed out supports twice. They started with Missing, went to Wink, ended up on Draw. They started with Arla in top lane as well, changed over to Xiaoshu in the top lane, and even coaches they changed around. Clearlove is their coach now, and despite his pretty dismal coaching record, JDG look like they've done better now, despite getting reverse swept by BLG. Looks like they've had a bit of an uptick in terms of form. And I think Weibo are going to be hard-pressed to win this without a good gold lead, given how JDG played in that first game.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Gold lead being next to even is a bit problematic. When's our next dragon? About a minute away. That be our next port of call. We're going to get a plate up here with those grubs, so let's manage to do so. Plus the ball rush, to be fair, which is also important. Wibble wobble will connect and onto plate. It doesn't quite have the same feel to it, you know what I mean?
No, it's a little bit harder to make things work that way, really. You know, dragons only living for, you know, about a minute or two. I start to understand why they're now mythical creatures. I feel like there is some kind of, you know how a lot of animals are killed very unfairly for, you know,
sustenance.
Well, not sustenance, but, you know, for like medicinal value and for ivory and stuff like that. I wonder actually if dragon killing should be known as poaching instead, because I think that these are beautiful creatures which are being killed for their resources.
I mean, they probably would taste quite good boiled in a pan of water.
What? Do you have any? How can you possibly say that, Sam? Perhaps whatever.
Poaching, you know.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Poached dragon.
Yeah. You see, that's the. That was the route I went. My brain works in mysterious ways, Alex. So I feel like work may in fact be a bit of an overstatement. Scout with the passive stacked in the mid lane. Line Bush is a ward right now for the side of Weibo. Spotting out what's happening with the Dragon Crisp is kind of looking to step on forwards, gets down the inner focus resolve. Light looking to try and nab that one. I won't quite find it. Tien goes in with the Crescent Guard, going to get sped around with the quickness, and then turning on to Light, who's left very low indeed, looking for the focus resolve onto Shun, won't quite find it. Xiaoshu goes all out, trying to find some value on the other side, but he's in a 1v5. That's a bit deep. Cassante, flash on now, Breathe with the dominance rolling, there's feathers flying, that'll probably allow for a good pull here from Pace, who's still holding the flash, and finds a wonderful angle for it. Crisp Blow, trying to back himself away with the Inspire, the kill off the Shinzo, who doesn't have the Crescent Guard anymore, breathing the slice and dice around, gets a good heal with the culling of the Meek. But what about the rest of the health bonds? Chris got no mana, a grand entrance, Jewel will trade aside for it, Adolfo strikes on so many members, brings down the Renekton health bond so low, Shun flashing for the force, and finds it, Adolfo strikes again, Xiaohu trying to get some more threaded balls and can't land them onto Pace. It's a 4-for-3 right now. Xiaohu ends up eating some footwork, and Xiaoshu confirms the ace.
Xiaoshu carries the fight for JDG after an awkward start and teleport position. Blood finally flows in this matchup, which we've been waiting for. JDG, this is the kind of team fight which makes you really excited for them in this series, and perhaps further through this playoffs if they can keep this up. The Dragon secured by them at the start, and I love how Draw started this fight, dragging the team away, going from back to one side to the other, gets the ton of damage onto Light. And while Xiaoshu does get a bit of an awkward teleport angle, he manages to link back up with his team, and this is part of the worry that we had about this team was, well, how do they kill the Cassante? The answer is, they don't very well.
being a problem. And then he sort of gets to this point and watch Pace flash there. The double route to make sure that Tien and Chris Flash is hellish. Scout finds the flash stun to confirm the kill onto the Shinzao. And then it gets dicey because the health bars start getting very low on both sides. They're back to live. We've got more important things to talk about, meaning impending violence. Tien with the Crescent Guard again. Not KLL, as Medic would say. All the while, that blue buff being attacked, but surely secured here by JDG, and they lose another member.
Light gets the blue buff with that last Q.
Does.
Gets that last blue buff hit with that Q, but still, losing a kill for it. You're not so happy about that one, and Tien doesn't see any of that benefit. 1,000 gold down now for Shun, who's one of our best buys within the league. And you know, while Xiaoxiu has been so exemplary over the last minute or two, Pays, oh my god, he's been so good on the Xayah. Those are the two champions that we highlighted before, saying, you know, like K'Sante, the Xayah, how do you deal with both of them? And Weibo have come up short with that now. And despite that early objective lead, you were calling out, well, you know, gold lead, not really that much. Yeah, now at a solid gold deficit. They're going to maybe even take a blue buff on the other side, and Chris caught out. He isn't that a flash.
Oh boy, he burned his flash in the last play. Charm goes with the Tien, learns the win becomes lightning. Shun might now be in danger. Turns over the season and says Breathe, looking for the flank angle. Would likely kill Shun here. Damage back though onto the likes of Tien, who's so desperately low, and Light with no summoners goes down. They trade jungler for 2. In goes Jewel. Can't quite find Tien, who has got the blast going out to safety. Backstep on the seismic shove. Jewel, battle dance and stay safe. That's the end of that.
Blue buff not actually taken by JDG and all of that, but they'll take the kills again. Hell, that seems like a good trade for me. Scout on the Annie. Going up to clear out that top side. Herald has spawned, and I suppose that will be the extra kind of implication of this is, you know, is someone ready? Hang on a second, that's an ult towards top side, but he runs into both solo laners. Not sure he expected that.
That's a bit scary. Scout's going to get healed by that redemption. Looking to go all out onto Breathe is Xiaoxiu. Scout low, gets another stun. The true shot barrage from downtown secures the kill on Scout. Another 3-part Topo Strike 3. Pays him with the Feather Storm. And the weather keeps being so inclement that it's JDG who murder 4.
How does he get out alive? The Omnivamp from the All Out. Xiaoxiu. Oh my god. What a level of play from this player. This guy should have been an all-pro top lane. I don't care what anyone else says. Xiaoxiu was deserved an all-pro top lane spot. Give him one of the 3. I cannot believe he didn't feature there. What a series of play from the K'Sante, showcasing exactly what he's brought to JDG over this split.
I think he's hit more multi-man Q3s than single-man Q3s.
Yeah, and then every time you hit someone, you get the Omnivamp as well. So it's not just the CC. Comes here at exactly the right time, gets the footwork shield for Scout, and starts to bot people around. The flick backs from his ult as well, helping with the peel, allows Scout to get a ton of damage down. Scout would not have gotten nearly as much damage without that down. And then with the 3-man knockup coming through, the healing comes through from it, gets another knockback as the Shinzao comes in, giving a tiny bit of healing, and he lives through it. Insane K'Sante play.
Great shout out to Pace well, who got ghosted up the river to be there faster. Was hugely valuable. They get the Herald afterwards, looking to continue to turn the screws. And Weibo Gaming are feeling the pinch of it. Tier 1 falls in mid lane.
Full turret down there on the bot side. Scout got a trade onto Breathe. Pretty sure he just dies for it though.
Does indeed, but now Jaws around. Reed is low. Overcome the rest of JDG. They've got a Battle Herald, and the taxi comes on in. Quickness knocked up multiple times. Slammed into the wall. Vengeance for Scout. Swiftly secured.
Is that a Herald or a battle tank? Drives it down to the bot side. Gunnar was ready, and there was a full CC and Rage Up. If a Q had come through, he could have healed and maybe survived. But the CC lasts too long, and JDG will go from mid lane turret to bot lane turret, taking both and taking kills in both exchanges.
It's a challenge at 2,000 LP.
Oh, God. Well, Xiaoxiu on top side does have grubs, but if he gets... the wave clears come through now. Does turret shot come on? I think it might do. There's an ult still available for Vi.
Yeah, can look to buffer through. Xiaohu has his Seraph shield run out. No flash to really find a way out there. And that means a 5th death for Xiaohu. 2 and 5 this game.
JDG, some great plays across this game. And of course, the last one was really slick. To remind folks that JDG had just taken a 5-game series versus BLG to the brink. Did lose out in that game 5. But JDG, even after getting reverse swept there, not to be counted out, I suppose, did beat EDG as well. in a similarly close series. This Herald was disgustingly good. Look how his CC comes through. Really well played from jungle support to full CC the Renekton and make sure they couldn't get an empowered Q healing. Dragon now going to be forfeit over to side JDG as well. Scout alone on the side lane, but dodges out and the wind becomes lightning. And a defensive teleport from the Rakan will see Scout to safety.
Dragon secured. JDG now find themselves happily in command of this game, don't they? 5,000 gold up. 2 items for Xayah, 2 items for Shun. Not quite 2 items for Xiaoshu, but who needs that on K'Sante at this point when he's so damn strong in general? The problem is you look on the other side, this Renekton pretty anemic, the Xin Zhao anemic. Poor old Xiaohu as well has got a needlessly large rod and a Seraphs and is not feeling particularly strong this game either. So what do Weibo do? They needed that early advantage because it doesn't get any easier as the game goes on, realistically. They can use that ultimate from the Taliyah to create a numbers advantage. Phases. I mean, normally I'd say the AD carry should not be walking up like that, but I guess when you've got 2 summoners and ultimate, and you've got a scout behind you, you feel okay about it, I suppose. Good vision control from JDG all across both sides of the jungle. Very rare to get advanced vision on both sides of the map. That's very luxurious there, luxury. They push in. No objectives for them to take outside of the Atakan, which is often, you know, something you really need to set up for in advance. JDG wanting to make sure they get full information around this and make sure that Weibo don't get an easy access to contest it. And we've seen a lot of bad Atakan plays in the LPL. How many games have been thrown here? Hell, I watched JDG do that just the other day. Well, now trying to make sure that there is a option to find their way in. Xiao, who just got chunked by Shun with a unrelenting. What's the big punch called? The denting blows is like unrelenting
excessive force.
Is it excessive force?
I think that's what it used to be called. I don't know what it is.
I think it's unrelenting force.
Oh yeah, they got to get rid of all of those.
Assault and batteries now cease and desist.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If you're gonna make jokes about it, stick to your guns. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Dragon on the bot side, not Dragon, Atakan being started with JDG by forcing Weibo out of the side of the map. There's no real contest coming in.
Doesn't look like it. Xin Zhao is back in base. This is gone. True shot barrage is not going to be quite timed right. 2,000 HP is a little high even for an Ezreal ult.
You're a little high to be an Ezreal ult. A little short. A little short to be a Stormtrooper.
A little tall to be a Hobbit taking the ring to Isengard.
Yeah. Like what's his name? Carrot in Discworld novels. He's a little tall to be a, he's 6-foot dwarf.
Yeah, he is.
Took a long time to figure out.
He finally told he was adopted. He thought he was just vertically challenged.
For those of you who never read Terry Pratchett's works, go do that at some point. Great books. Very, very good. My favorite author of all time. JDG commanding this game now. And in the first game, we're much cleaner in the team fights too. But, you know, Weibo, they're a team which took down anyone's legend in a best of 5. We expected more from them these first few games. Of course, there's a full series to be played after this, you know. We've got potential of them coming back in the series, but this start to it has not looked clean at all. Red buff spawning pays some poke coming into him from lights. We see a full fight over this. Well, I doubt JDG want to fight without Xiaoshu ready and in position. He wants to push out top lane first and to make sure he can teleport down. Come on, Weibo, you've got to give us some kind of fight. We talked up this matchup so big. You know, these teams, 24 and 24 all-time in terms of games before this series. 8 and 9 to the favor of Weibo before this series too. They're as close as teams get. They have gone neck and neck, even over JDG's super team year of 2023. Weibo won both series they played against them in that year. Only played against them in regular season, but beat them both times in spring and summer in 23. They beat them JDG at their best, and JDG are far from that now in this year. They're clawing their way back to form, make no mistake, but it's very hard to match 2023.
Mind of the fan vote at the beginning of the broadcast was 90% in favor of Weibo Gaming. People did not believe in JDG, and the more things change, the more they stay the same. You can just never trust LPL playoff games to deliver in the manner you're expecting. And Weibo Gaming have rolled wrong on the side of consistently inconsistent so far today.
Minutes till Dragon. Are we going to get 3 items onto someone like Pays before that comes through? Sure, he's got the 2 expensive parts of his Infinity Edge coming through, and that is very terrifying for Weibo. Scout has the Blood Letters now. Dropped some farm to make sure that other people have access to it. Xiaoshu, hang on, I'm interested to see what he goes as his next item actually with that Aegis. He could go towards the locket actually, but he might just go towards the Unending Despair. Upgraded boots, of course, for him as well. 20 seconds till Dragon Wave, but trying to push out mid lane to give them easier access to the objective.
This would be soul point for JDG, not actual soul. So there's a world where Weibo could give it up, I suppose, but don't think that's going to change the game state very much. What are you waiting for item-wise? Maybe was it more on light if you were going to do that? You can't see a lot in the jungle. I know that's making things tricky. Blast Cone taken. Scout with the passive stacked again.
And the dragon started. Weibo, I suppose they could give this one up. It's not the soul itself, but they don't scale particularly well, as we've been talking about. They'll see the dragon go down. No contest. Some Safari League of Legends. They just sit and watch the wildlife.
Oh, Light has going to have to cleanse immediately as Scout finds him with a Disintegrate. Gonna go in there. Just TN with a audacious charge and 3 talent strike. The backs away quite swiftly. Now soul point. Baron's in 30 seconds, and we do this dance again, but just on the other side of the rift.
And Weibo, I just don't see how they get into this play now. Tian, is he going to walk in towards Shun? He is, but there's no follow-up right now. Not a bad turnaround. 2-level disadvantage. Ult pop by Breathe. Flash away from Shun. But wait, do Weibo get anything for it? No, not necessarily. I mean, the flash being down on the Vi is important, but losing the dominance means your immediate fighting power is a little bit lowered, really. Renekton really struggles to fight without that Rage on demand. Baron spawning. Weibo trying to clear out some vision. It's going to be the Territorial Baron, I believe that's what it's called. As JDG trying to force Weibo out of the river.
Of course, they do have all those different forms on Baron to force you to do different warding patterns and stuff. In comes the cease and desist, actually, Tien. Now in danger, has to Crescent Guard, but he's Crescent Guarding into, of course, the fact this Casante's in the backline already. And Tien is dead. Flashed away from Chris. They're going to get 2 kills, the top jungle down. And Weibo Gaming blink and lose their health bars.
Now, what does JDG do? Do they immediately go back towards the Baron? Hell yes, they will. Baron on the table for JDG and Weibo. They have not been able to use the early power of their composition. They've barely been able to use anything. A flash forward or jump forwards, and that is the all-out.
All out onto Light, who is looking like his is a little bit dim today. Flashes over the wall, has been exhausted. Where do you go now? The Grey Scream for at least another 45 seconds. At the very least, Xiaohu survives. As to Scout, was also not exactly healthy here. Baron secured as a 2-man from JDG while all the violence was happening in mid lane.
So JDG get everything they've come for. They have their soul points, not the soul just yet, but they have the Baron. They go back to spend their gold while hitting 3 items across the board now, really. Only Light matching that from Weibo. But even then, this is the point where you start to get really outscaled by the Xayah. It's a good flick back. Q hits after the E does get buffered through. Flashes to make sure the all-out comes through, and Light just doesn't have enough mobility. Yezreal, no mana, no HP. Not a snowball's chance in hell.
Good work there from Xiaoshu again, who's been having a monstrous Cassante game, hasn't he? 5-0-8. Get MVP for this one. I'm not sure what he needs to do.
Hard to tell what he can do more. Shun just jump forwards. Didn't want to pull that ultimate. Pushing in across the board. Weibo also don't have a great amount of wave clear, which is the problem. Not exactly going to be able to defend their base, I don't think. 2 minutes to the Baron buff. Ezreal does tag onto draw. Will likely have to recall. Does he have a spellbook teleport? See if he can get back out onto the map quickly. Weibo really just clinging on for life. This one is a... This game has been hard for ever since they fell behind in terms of gold. Now it is pretty much unplayable with JDG. So many items. A GA on Shun makes it harder to pick him off as well. Draws back out on the map. And I suppose JDG not able to break the base at this time. That's a slight win for Weibo, but it is small stuff.
Slowing down a little bit now. 1.5 minutes until Dragon. That would be Soul. Infernal Soul for a Annie Xayah. Yeah, sounds great. 3 items done for Pays, who has once again been very consistently dangerous. They'll find the quickness. Breeze needs the dominance and finds the time, but he's being CC. Double shove is good. Draw dies, but it's only the Rakan. Is that really what you need? Dice away as Xiaoshu. Also left pretty low. Feather pull from Jay Pays is scary though. Shun gets the shield with the denting blows. They lose another. Blast shield not enough. Tien goes in too deep. Shun's got the Jay to work with, and despite all of the talk of it, Pays with the feathers. He's still unthreatened. You've gotten kills on the front line, but not on the bird, who is speaking words of Pays. Quadra kill, I believe, for Pays.
Pays getting all 4. It won't be the Penta, but Pays carries the late game. The AD carry, which has performed so well for JDG despite the team's ups and downs, closes out this game in fashion, and JDG will go to an early match point against Weibo.
10-0-9 just decides that he can see the angle, sees the vision, threads it perfectly. JDG 2-0 up at Weibo. Where are you? You need to wake up because this series is looking mighty challenging.
Oh, it feels like a bad dream for Weibo. Beat anyone's legend. Thought they were in for something special in this playoffs. Go up against their closest rivals, I think, really. Within the LPL of JDG now. Matchup that always goes the distance. And they are about to get shut out. JDG blasting Weibo. So far in the first 2 games, it has not looked close.
Welcome back, folks, to the Initialise and Nymaera stream, the Nymaera and Initialise broadcast, the Hapgood Brothers Entertainment Industries, the Good Bros, right here to offer you incredible League of Legends commentary, insightful League of Legends analysis, and raw entertainment by value of wibble wobble rumble wants to play.
Yeah. And folks, Genji KT Game 5 is happening right now, so we're gonna go keep watching that background. We'll watch it with the highlights, and we'll be chilling out in the background. Fix that posture. I will. No, I am shrimp. I will try. I will, but and I will get hydrated as well. Yes.
I've got to leave.
What do you got to do?
I've got G2 broadcast.
All good. Okay, I'll finish off the series then. Good stuff.
I shall leave you to it, folks.
Cool.
You're in excellent hands.
Yay. Cool. Sam, before you leave, can you get me another coffee?
I absolutely can.
Alrighty. We shall finish off this series alone. You also need to get rid of your chair, Sam. Okay, all good. All good. All good. Thank you. Appreciate you. Holy moly, this Genji KT series is tense. Okay, we'll see if we can get through the highlights and the MVP and then put the ad break on. Oh, it's so tense in LCK. Oh, can KT finally do it in a series which matters? Don't get excited. The thing is, I'm a big fan of Genji as well, right? I like good League of Legends, and Genji play good League of Legends, so I like them. KT, I like them half the time, you know? Sometimes they play great League of Legends, sometimes they do not. Such is the way of things. Oh, how do you play against a Hex Soul like this? Oh my god, this is tense. Oh, that is so close! Oh my god, that is tense. Oh, KT! Holy crap, what a series. Oh my god, what a series. That's a great question, Gazel. I was thinking the same myself. What does this mean for players then? Oh, Jesus Christ. Genji are in the lower bracket. That's spooky. Oh my god. What does that mean? Wait. What does that mean for... What does that mean for KT? Wait, does that mean that KT gets a Worlds? Top 3 gets a... Yeah, I'm pretty sure these KT are in Worlds, right? KT are in Worlds, holy shit! This is the first time that KT had been to Worlds since what, 2018? Shashu MVP, no surprise, he was fucking insane. Okay, let's get some efforts on and we'll wait for our next game. Guys, I hope you realize this means that, like, I hope you realize this means that 4th seed for LCK is going to be one of T1 Genji HLE. What? I'm, like, LPL 4th seed is screwed. I mean, technically it could be DK BFX as well, but, like, realistically, it's going to be one of HLE T1 Genji. Redonkulous.
是暗夜的猎手，更是夜拍的高手。OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人像 MVP。
TCL X11H 领耀 QD Mini LED 电视，纯净画质，细节尽显，细腻光影，丰富明暗细节，典藏级影像体验。TCL
皇冠战马。 更受中国电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，更受年轻人喜欢的中国能量饮料。中国电竞，当然有我，有能量，当然战马。
奥方电竞椅职业战队的选择，连续6年，中国电竞椅销量第1。奥方 G7 专业人体工学电竞椅，22项调节，提供腰颈肩全方位支撑。上官方旗舰店搜奥方 G7。今晚碾压局。 你的车
就这样了吗？或者说，
开局吗？
开就开。
Oh my god, hi Ari. Only for TFT though. Rip.
WBG 的话，其实5位选手都是经验非常丰富的选手嘛，然后他们的团队决策和团队配合都是比较成熟的。之前跟他们交手是有胜有负嘛，我觉得当天的比赛的话就更看当天的状态吧，都有机会。我觉得这个版本的辅助其实是更需要有自我意识吧，很多事情其实是非常临场的，你不能过于去依赖队友的判断或者怎么样来做事情，你要有自己足够的判断，然后进行互相的配合，这样才会有一个更好的配合。其实我们目前队伍的情况就是起伏比较大嘛，然后对于我们的除了上单以外的3位选手，其实对他们来说可能都要算是一个小低谷了，但对我来说可能是高光吧，这种情况比较特殊吧，就我比较珍惜这种机会，希望能和他们3个重新回到大家的巅峰。
Holy moly, my Nymaera Top Gun is absolutely steaming through Gemini right now. Gotta say, watching both on Twitch and YouTube is pretty dope. Need more platforms? Well, we did do TikTok for a while, and then it just looked like everything was getting... Ugh, it's really annoying, not gonna lie. What? Sam, do you want my BLG jersey? Alright, let me go. Right, one sec. I'm gonna go meme with Sam for a second. Back on the stage we go. For some reason, YouTube is delayed by like 30 seconds. That is strange. That is strange. I think sometimes that's just YouTube. Now, what you can do is you can go down to the playback speed, and if you do 2 times speed, it will bring you up to quote-unquote true live. The alternating pattern is real. Scout and Xiaohu win alternating series. Well, JDG did win 2 in a row this year. They won in playoffs and in split 3. Weibo did. So that did break it for a little while. And then also in 24, we also had Summer and Regionals, which had that. Enjoy hearing you guys twice. Oh, it's very kind of you. Thank you, Marco. Hey, Katara, good to see you. I know you were here before, but good to have you here 100%. Into the draft we go. Weibo, not going to lie, have not put up a fight this series so far. See if that changes here. They've tried early game. They've tried Wombo combo. What do they have left to try? Kindred banned away from Shun. We know it's a power pick of his. Rise Kiana. I don't think Tien is ever going to get to touch Kiana again, you know. As long as Kiana jungle is meta, do not allow Tien to play this pick. Weibo need to pull something out now, otherwise it's over for them, right? Until regionals. Yes, they are locked into regionals, but they are not locked above 6th place. If they win this series, they will finish guaranteed 6th. They will be overtaken by every other team remaining in playoffs. However, if they win here, somehow reverse sweep, take some games, perhaps they can push a little further. We have our 6 teams in contention for Worlds. We know which teams will be fighting for Worlds. We just don't know which order they'll be in. BLG, Anyone's Legend, Top Esports, Invictus Gaming, Weibo, and JDG will be our Worlds hopefuls. Every other team has been knocked out. Trundle was banned, Wukong was banned. Poppy is still available, Yunara locked in. EDG done better than Weibo. That's crazy. In terms of the series, yeah, I mean, it was a 5-game series versus JDG. JDG have had 2 5-game series back-to-back. A reverse swept by BLG, and then clutched out that Game 5 versus EDG. Xiaoshu really been the hero of this team. And that Mordekaiser was clutch. And in that last game, Xiaoshu did some intense carrying on the K'Sante. Lulu Yunara, Sivir Nico. So there is an Enchanter and a frontline for Weibo. Well, they tried to play early game. They tried to play Wombo combo. Why not go for some scaling front to back now? JDG. Yeah, the Mordekaiser's not bad here, actually. Xiaoshu had a good time of it before. It's not a bad matchup into the Scion. And what you can do is take the Yunara away from the Lulu, if the situation demands it. Take the Scion out of the fight. Options available to you, importantly. We've seen Mordekaiser go towards Hexplate because it's been so buffed up. Nocturne banned away. Afraid of potentially something like that Nocturne Orianna. Silas banned away from Scout, interestingly. But, surprised at that, actually. What would Xiaohu want to do that would require a Silas? Maybe they wanted to play something... Well, I suppose there's the Ahri, I suppose. Just banned away from Xiaohu. Now... Will Weibo give us an interesting series, or will they bow out swiftly and head to regionals for one last shot at Worlds? JDG needs some engage to match up with the Nico. I wonder if some... Poppy loses value because there's very little dash on the side of Weibo. Yone's banned away from Scout. Hey TFC, good to see you. Victor locked in for Scout. Now, Scout played the Victor in their Game 5 win against EDG as well. Gives you some more front to back here. Your DPS is looking pretty damn solid. One of the last remaining mages in mid lane removed too. Those are the DPS ones. Xiaohu presumably does want to lock in something long-range DPS. The whole composition seems to be dependent on it. They don't have that much engage, I will say. You need to lock in something that does well enough versus the Victor. It also fits your team comp. The Neferi was banned away last game from Shun, interestingly. Tien picks it up now. Yeah, the Hui is not bad here, actually. It can match range with the Victor. Slightly outrange, in fact. Your engage is limited to just the Scion at that point, it is worth noting, if you do go towards that. Gold card gives you a bit more limited pick potential, and there it is. You can spell shield it as the Sivir. That's a little difficult to play around. Catching off the Victor, perhaps a little easier. Game 5 for Weibo versus Anyone's Legend was won by the Twisted Fate pick. Last pick of that Poppy. Now, we did say there's not that much dash on the side of Weibo, but Poppy is still a very good early game skirmishing jungler. So JDG, a little less coherent of a composition. You have the Poppy to remove some people from a fight, the Mordekaiser to bop some other people out as well with the ultimate. That's one of the big things about this team comp. You can just remove 2, 3 people from a fight, pick off the remaining members. Sivir can ult you into position. Weibo on the other side, they're very traditional front to back. Is Genji eliminated? No, Genji have already qualified for Worlds. Genji have already qualified for Worlds because they won MSI and made it to LCK playoffs. So they're already at Worlds. Of course, that was a series that just happened over in LCK, and god damn, it was fun. Let's get ourselves into our third game of the day here. Who has the better composition, Weibo or JDG? Now, I would largely say Weibo, but you look at the ability to remove people from the team fight with the Mordekaiser and the Poppy, and you see the vision, don't you?
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
Xiaohu's dance that went viral earlier in the year. Can Weibo give us a series? Reminder, folks, that I know we've harped on a lot about it, but let's be honest, the gameplay's not given us much else to harp on about. Weibo and JDG are as close as teams get. They have been neck and neck since 2023, really. Scout walking down towards bot side to see if there was a bush stack up there. Double range versus double range does add some threats in. Ooh, good ward clear there with the W start from Hayes. And it's not like the wave is already here, so it's like he can get the W cooldown back. Do they put another ward down from Lights? Scout starting the Q. Making sure he can trade well against the single target of the card start of the TF as well. Shin walking into the enemy jungle on his own, level 1, alright. Can pick up the buckler for a bit of the shield. Poppy just wants to steal bits and pieces away if they can. Steals 2 of the small raptors. He steal a third one? No. Coming down to a smite on this. And it's taken by Tien. Not level 2 though. Did not get enough of the small ones to get that. Shin did use the smite. Does Tien go straight to... Ah, now he's at level 2 because he leached some XP from the wave. Okay, interesting. Barrier used by Pays, wanting to tank up some of the damage there. Ricochet helps you clear through the wave very quickly, but Yunara stacking that Q early on, very, very powerful, of course. Ah, and that's interesting. The wave got dragged around a little bit, so it meant that the Ricochet didn't hit the back minions very well. Tight 2v2 contest here, actually. Slight pushing from the Yunara. Gold card onto a minion, not onto Scout. Xiaoshu only played the 1 game of this so far, but it was in that last series, the 5-game series, which went wild versus JDG. Yeah, and the Ricochet's not hitting everything all the time there. Some targets just out of range. Tien thinking about going mid. Teleport towards bot lane. Very early lane swap. Very, very early lane swap, in fact. Scout, ooh, getting gold carded. Tien does have a decent amount of damage and has the red buff. Pressing that W. Does it want to flash forwards? Gets that E. No damage from it. The second Q probably would kill. Ooh, not quite available. Not on target. I say not on target. It was flashed away from.
Fighting over the grubs now. Tian really wanting to make something work. There's no flash on Scout now. Shen trying to outvalue. But Tian just bullying around. Despite the fact that Shun was the one invading first, Tian is the one that's getting away from this a little better. Teleport now onto Breeze, who does have flash. Strange teleports. The Mordekaiser coming down. Ah, yeah, a little bit. I was wondering if there's anything that's coming through. Full charge Q will definitely make him feel a little worse about that. How likely is it, in my opinion, for a reverse sweep? Given what Weibo have shown me, quite unlikely. But then again, JDG showed very good gameplay versus BLG in their first 2 games against them. And then things fell apart after that point. I normally like this composition from Weibo. It's a strong front line, good backline carry of the Yunara. However, I am quite worried that they're not going to be able to cleanly front to back because JDG have so many ways to remove people from the fight. Tian fighting over the Raptors again. One small, one taken. Waiting for the Q cooldown to come back up potentially. Tian getting slightly better of this jungle matchup. Of course, Shen trying to use the full build Poppy, which is, you know, just hang on a second. Just Tian. Ooh, we can maybe get the kill with the Q here, actually. Ooh, claimed by Shen. Q is just wide from Tian. Shen really trying to use the early power of the Poppy. The full build Poppy. You hit level 3, get red buff, and you are good. Pei's missed the cannon now. You should all know that Pei's missed the cannon and another small minion, but that's not the cannon. That's the important one. There was a Mordekaiser yesterday too. Yeah, but Xiaoshu was the one that played it versus EDG, and it worked really, really well for him. Good damage from Lights. Lights Yunara's been decent. He's been going for Hexplate first on the Yunara, worth noting. A lot of AD carries that don't need crit going towards the Hexplate. This feels like a really strong item after the buffs. Gives you more ult up time. Of course, for Yunara, your ult is a lot of your value. Heal coming through. Light does have Kraken, not Kraken Slap, but he has the lethal tempo. Scary amounts of damage. Of course, when you get the Lulu hitting people, well, giving you picks, you get a ton of extra damage from that too. Even in terms of gold. Cullen for both AD carries. Slight lead towards the Mordekaiser. Even pretty much everywhere else. Suppose the TF Prince Gold with his passives, there's some value there. Pei's missed another minion there. Game 1 was very slow. More like this. That's the farm alarm from Sion. We'll ult to make sure he can catch that wave bot side. I want to see what Xiaoshu's full build is. We are likely expecting, you know, Riftmaker or Leandry's first, and then we'll see after that point. You could go Bloodletters. It can be okay. Eventually, we are expecting the Hexplate coming in from Mordekaiser, so your ultimate is just always available. Means that blowing your ultimate feels like much less of a negative thing. There is an AD ratio on Mordekaiser's Q now. I was wondering if Shojin would be a thing for the % damage increase. That's a very nasty wave freeze. Lulu's surprisingly good at holding waves like that because she can shield herself. You need a 4 minion advantage to keep a wave frozen, by the way. 4 minions. That makes me a little bit worried for JDG collecting farm on that top side. We do have... Because what this will lead to is a slow... They can hold the wave there, let it crash, and then slow push back in time for the grubs. Flash forwards for the gold card. Scout no flash of his own. Is the full Q going to come through? Yes, it is. Tian wall stun, but he's not even going to be needed. That's a little bit of damage down with a Q through. Shun tries to disengage. Scout caught out well and truly, though, by Xiaohu. First kill for him. First blood to Weibo. A little better for them. Xiaoshu on the bot side. No teleport. 20 seconds till grubs. It does make you think that... Well, he won't be moving up to contest. Say that there will be no contest. A lot of the time, top laners don't do that anymore from the bot side of the map. Tend to just stay bot side now. That's true. Yeah, Hexplate move speed for Mordekaiser is really, really important. You're not wrong. The attack speed is nice in general, but helps you get your passive in certain cases. Q auto tends to get her to that point. Ooh, good damage from Light. Pops the ultimate to get some damage down. Just want to chunk out Pei's and Draw, who are just hitting that, you know, level 6 for Pei's here to make sure that Make sure that they can't roam down and help with the grubs. The grubs currently being taken by Tien. He had a good game on the Neferi so far. Been doing well. Making sure that Shun doesn't get ahead there. I think that when Weibo have been doing well in this playoffs, it has been off of Tien. Realistically, Tien has been the guy that's been setting this team up for success. Another quick recall from Pays and Draw. Leaving top lane, going bot side. Xiaoshu has teleport. We'll shove in one more wave. Teleport up to top lane, presumably. Unpopular opinion, LCP is looking better than LTA EU right now. Kitty was co-streaming LCP the other day, which was pretty cool. CFO looked good. Honkyu is a prodigy. Honkyu is one of the next great players, I'm convinced. That guy is fantastic. We are seeing, you know, Maple and Cars are starting to pop off a bit more on talent. They've made it through to Worlds. We'll see who the third team from that region will be. Whether it will be Garm or someone else. That's true, Kozil. And component building was huge before the mythic item changes of 2020, right? You'd used to go Warden's Mail and Spirit and Spectral Cowl as well for just the very efficient defensive stats on both. Shun taking his red buff. Shahu walking away from walls to make sure that the Poppy can't threaten. Dragon has been alive for a little while, but neither team has found the time to do anything about it. Been much more about lane pressure. Now we are getting to the point where Twisted Fate ultimate can be quite scary. There's no cleanse on Pays, but does have the spell shield, of course, for gold card. Be banking his reaction time for that one. Heal thrown out. Spell shield used by Pays. Good damage back onto Light, actually, and the flash forward for a little more. That's not bad from the wild growth, though. Light will escape with the help of Crisp. He uses both his summoners. Pays keeps both of his alive. That's a pretty good win there for JDG, actually. Double summoners and double ultimates from the enemy bot lane for the cost of double summoners on their supports. I think they'll take that. Now, it does mean that Draw is a little bit more vulnerable. Potential wall stun flashed away from Crisp. Another summoner bought by Shun and the bot lane. Dragon, will it finally be started now? There's no camps up available for Neferi. Has Krugs, but that's it. Might be a contest here. Now, it's only on half HP. Sion does have ult. You don't really want to walk into River if you're not really committing to it. Plate for Xiaoshu. We'll get a little bit of gold up here. Going towards that Riftmaker first. I think Xiaoshu could really break this game. And Xiaoshu has been the linchpin for JDG, really. And, you know, we've talked about if Weibo win, it's largely through Tien. I think for JDG, earlier in the year, it was if Pays was doing well, then JDG could do great things. Now I think it's much more about Xiaoshu, a player who I think a lot of people who are not LPL fans don't know about. He's not been on a big team before. I've been a big fan of this guy ever since he was on Rare Atom. And I think that it's been overdue, people giving Xiaoshu the respect which he's been earned, really. Which he has earned, rather. I like him. I like him an awful lot. I think this guy's been good for a number of years. I liked his Jax before. I think that his Cassante has been very top tier. And I think his Renekton over time has just continually gotten more and more value. Of course, he was on RNG for a little bit. Didn't get much value from that. But yeah, I quite liked him a lot on Rare Atom. I cast a lot of his games in my first year of LPL. Good passive there on... Oh, not passive. Good dunk onto Breathe with the EQ. Single target Qs from Mordekaiser are incredibly overstated, I will say. Has himself that full Riftmaker. Blackfire in for Scout, going towards that build. He likes this build. Huh, actually I didn't know that. Like, nice little tidbit from TFC in chat. Xiaoshu was the substitute on RNG during 2021, which is when Xiaohu, his current mid lane opponent, was top lane. Scout does have flash. It's not a bad graph field there, actually. Will help a little bit. There's a Nico behind him. Ultimate coming through from Light, and that's now going to be 3 ultimates blown from Weibo to get just the 1 flash out of Scout. Not convinced about that one, actually. If there's a fight which comes in the next minute, the ultimates being down will be more important than the flash being down. If it happens beyond that point, of course, then you start questioning the value. Plate going over towards Light. Light's gotten a lot of value out of lanes. Has his Cull stacked in as well, which means that value's come through. Chris still has no flash, and they don't see the teleport, I don't think. Teleport coming in from the Victor, who's back with the Chaos Storm, and Light, well, he doesn't have any summoners either. Dead. Nymaera pushes for the plates, and he'll get smashed in return. Lulu backing off the wave collected by Tien. A little scary, actually. Giving lane farm to junglers can sometimes be really, really powerful. LPL was always a region which did very well at that, actually. Realizing when they can pick up the extra couple of minions, particularly for the carry junglers around about 2022-23. Caster's Nightmare roster. Zeka, Tsuka, Xiaoshu, Xiaohu, Xiaohao, Xiaolongbao. Xiaoshu, yeah, you know. Xia Huangren. There's a lot of them. Xiao just means small, by the way, a little. Do players have full control of their builds in the LPL? Yes. What do you mean by that? Do you mean, like, are they like, are the players kind of meta slaves and just build what the big players do? Depends on the player. Someone like Leave, very, very intricate with his builds. Leave will always adapt his build. He's a very good player to watch for micro adaptations. Xiaobai. It was Xiaowei Zhao as well over on LMQ ages ago. Pushing towards multiple lanes now. Herald has spawned. Potential gold card for Xiaohu rather, does come through. And the cannon is not going to die. Scout does get his hands on that one. Has level 11. Also remember that farm and cannon minions for Victor do main on awful locks. They give him stacks towards his passive. To you too, Nico. Q from Sion. He missing. Xiaoshu. Interesting to see who he ults here. Does he choose to ult someone easily at all? Draw flashing forwards onto the bot lane. Flash away from Light. Chris flashing away as well. Both summoners down. Shun engaging on the other side a little bit to force Breathe out. Double summoners away. Draw just using his own flash. He's had a pretty decent series draw, actually. The Rakan was good. The Nico's had good value. Now, there's still a Poppy ult, still a Mordekaiser ult. Even if things get spooky, he can remove someone from the play. Xiaoshu, he does pull the ultimate ult coming back from Breathe. Went unstoppable, but it didn't really help him that much. TF ult coming through, and now Xiaoshu, I think he's going to be left alone as he comes out. Pulls the E back, but I think the Mordekaiser might still die. Good Poppy ult, though, to disengage. The ability to remove people from the play really coming up tops here from JDG, but will it get them out completely clean? Graffield, not bad. No one dies. A lot of summoners and ults blown. Xiaoshu somehow surviving without using his flash. But you see the blueprint here. JDG wanting to remove people from the equation. And because it's their choice who gets removed, I think they have a slight advantage there. Xiaoshu could teleport back in. The standoff for the Herald, though, will be won by Weibo. But a good blueprint of how team fights will start to go throughout this game. What happened here? Ah, he hit his award. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, I didn't catch that. Jorts hit his award in the brush. And Weibo were none the wiser. Dragon now alive. Xiaoshu on the sideline does have teleport. His ultimate's a little longer than Breed's right now. See what Xiaoshu goes towards as a second item. Might be the Rylai's second. With the Giant Spell in inventory. Oh, it could be the Hexblade, actually. That also builds out of it. We'll see. Dragon likely taken by JDG, evening the score of Dragons 1-1. Both Culls have been cashed in for both AD carries, so the gold difference between them is minimal. Xiaohu rather, got some value on side lanes, and of course his passive gives him gold pretty much over time, really. The more he farms, the more gold he gets. So he's got a decent lead over Scout right now. And of course got the first blood as well in mid lane. I kind of miss when first blood just gave you extra gold. It was nice to get that extra little bit. Mord gets more value when there are impactful AoE abilities on the enemy team, like Poppy, Galiotorn, and Camilla. Yeah, I think it's also just, he gets a lot of value when one person holds a team fight together. For instance, Sion is the one frontliner here. If you pull him out of a team fight, it can really impact things, because one, it then allows the Poppy ult to then go past the Sion, you can't ult through it. You noticed in that last fight, by the way, oh, the clean feed's just stopped for now. We're waiting to see what will happen. Yeah, we need to wait to see what happens with that. Please don't panic. We'll be back shortly. Just need to wait for the clean feed to restart. I know there are going to be messages coming. Luckily, nothing was happening particularly much at the time of it. We wait for the audio to come back, and here it comes back. Here we go. Nothing has happened during the time with that little blackout. Sometimes the clean feed has that. 3.5 minutes until the dragon comes up. Teleport into the bot side from Xiaohu. Has himself Lich Bane second item, so he's actually a damaging threat now. Lich Bane does help you an awful lot. Who has better late game? That's where things get tricky, because I think typically you'd say the front to back with Lulu and Sion is very hard to beat late game, but you do have the Mordekaiser Poppy removing people, and it's not like Sivir doesn't scale on her own, even without an enchanter. I would say Weibo still probably scale better late, because JDG need to have very good removal ultimates of the Mordekaiser and the Poppy, but it's not quite as cut and dry as that. Herald in mid lane. That's not going to break turret by itself. It would need a couple of auto attacks. They have the 3 grubs, so it would likely die after that point. Draw coming in. Didn't want to commit the flash. So that's just an ult down. Good damage from Light there, stacking up the Q. Poppy ultimate being charged up and will force the Yunara away. Just wanted to keep the tower alive. It's not like there's an objective to fight over immediately. Well, I suppose there is the Atakan. Is that started over immediately? I doubt it. Vision control quite easily established from Weibo on that bot side. I think JDG are getting... I'm a little bit worried for JDG here, actually. I don't think they're winning on the Mordekaiser matchup as hard as they want. Turret should fall in topside. Feats of strength going to Weibo because of that first threat. Mid lane turret will fall as well, and JDG lose both outer turrets in quite short succession. Weibo with this kind of lead, 3,000, good map advantage. I think they really are favored now. And I was saying, well, you know, the scaling depends on execution from JDG, really. I think Weibo are in a significant advantage now. The Neferi can be a secondary carry alongside the Yunara. Yunara typically, you think, well, you can just remove one person, you can remove the Yunara, and actually, does Weibo have the damage? But the Neferi can be quite scary. Royalize completed for Xiaoxu, worth noting now as well. And he's building towards that Hex plate as that third item with a longsword inventory. Once that ultimate available at all times, an extra move speed and attack speed after the ultimate is cast. Sion just doesn't lose lane. If you can lane versus Gwen Aatrox, he doesn't mind Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser can threaten the Sion in certain situations. Sion also really hates playing against... I mean, the Yorick is the one which he actually loses lane against. But Yorick beats every tank in lane all the time for forever. Atakan, now the object of everyone's desire. Some good vision control reclaimed by JDG. Weibo. Good power spikes to play around. BF Sword on Yunara gives them an extra bit of AD to play. Tien, good start to the game. 1,000 gold up. Not 2 items just yet. Some good XP advantages for Weibo, actually. 2 levels in mid lane, courtesy of some individual advantage, and then also the Rod of Ages as well. TF ult popped. Good response, though, from JDG, clumping up. Making sure there's no easy pickoff. So the Destiny and the follow-up gate, no longer a threat. Atakan briefly aggroed. Xiaoxu was holding mid lane during that phase of play. Atakan started by JDG now. Their DPS is not bad on this, but I don't think it's enough to stop there being a fight. I think you have to peel off this. I know JDG want this objective to happen. I don't think you should be really going towards this too hard, though. Not a bad death ray coming through from Scouts. Top lane is coming down. Xiaoxu wanting to just remove that Sion. Good trade onto the Sion, actually. Xiaoxu doing well here. But he needs to pull the ultimate. There it is. But he's going to be left alone. JDG need to make a decision. What is going to happen in the rest is teleport in from Scout to make sure that Xiaoxu is not alone. Poppy ult saves him, and now Xiaoxu has to force his flash as well. JDG don't get the objectives. But they do stop what could have been worst case scenario of Xiaoshu getting left alone. Doesn't have the Hexblade just yet for lower ult cooldown. Not a bad angle from him. Tried to stop. I just punched the microphone. Well, Sam not here. Well, I have to try that. Dragon has spawned, of course, as we saw during that too. But now with no Mordekaiser ultimate, Breathe does have his ult too. I don't think JDG can fight this. I think Weibo winning out the battle of attrition. Get the dragon. Atkan's still alive. Shen, need to be a little careful there, buddy. Weibo, slow gameplay working for them. Their fast gameplay wasn't working nearly as well. Or how's that flash if things were positioned for a big engage? Quite hard to engage into, you know, someone being defended by Lulu. And then, of course, the W from Nefiri makes it harder to land and engage onto the dog, too. Atkan's still available. Scout used that teleport midway through that last fight. Has Seekers. Has the Blighting Jewel for some percent penetration. I don't think Scout's had a bad series. The last couple have been quite poor, but this one's been pretty fine. E missing from Xiaoshu. The caster on mic violence must stop. Well, what if I want the violence? Maybe I need this. It's my enrichment time. Yeah. Game slows down again. Significant advantage for Weibo, as we're saying, both now in objectives and in gold. 3 items for Xiao Hu, who has rapid fire cannon. That is the point where TF really starts to break open the game. Lich Bane gives you the damage. Rapid fire cannon gives you the utility and the consistency of pick potential. Light not at the Infinity Edge just yet. Pei is waiting for that too. Well, Sivir can be a scaling threat towards Weibo. You need to be very careful about that. He's not going towards the Lord Dominus Regards or a Mortal Reminder just yet. I don't think he wants to deal with the Scion quite yet. Xiaoshu's job is basically remove the Scion from the fight and get value. Atkan's still available, of course. Xiaohu pushing in bot lane very heavily. Breathe was helping him by standing in bot river. JDG yet to get a single tower. That's not a good stat for them. The full outer ring has been destroyed on JDG's side of the map. JDG would love some territory. Down almost 5,000 gold. Their engage is hard to land, I suppose, when they have to push beyond their own vision. Weibo have good disengage. Quite easy for them to avoid some bits of engage. When the JDG hit the next big items? Because they need Infinity Edge on Pays, probably. Perhaps then Sivir can do some ungodly things. Xiaoshu, of course, waiting for his own Hexplate, as we've been talking about there too. Strong item right now, very strong. Weibo need to play this faster. They get hard outscaled. No, I don't think it's hard outscaled. I think the scaling is based on JDG's execution. And they do have an enchanter for the Yunara, so I think that does really impact things. And now they've just got the Infinity Edge onto that Yunara too. I think if it goes hyper late game, yeah, I think it's get a bit tricky. Lulu scaling is just something else, right? I don't think the scaling issue is... It's not clean cut. Upgraded boots coming in from most of Weibo now too. Everyone but Light, in fact. Ooh, Light going for the burst forwards as the Infinity Edge! And the Dark of Ruin. Will not quite finish the kill. A heal from Draw. Pei is not using that flash, but that is the scariness of the 3-item Yunara. Does that chunk open up anything for Weibo around the Atakan? Baron is alive too. No, they don't go towards it. Weibo not quickly moving towards objectives. I am a little bit worried for them, actually. You know, there were some questions. You know, does Weibo get outscaled? Do they need to push the game? Well, no, not really. But also, just letting the game go slow makes things a bit of a worry. Baron now started by Shun. Atakan on the other side. Weibo would have to move up from Atakan very quickly. They pull off the objective, and the Baron is started truly. Say that. Shun's the only one damaging right now. Breathe stops that Q, ults out, and is pulled back in. That's a very low HP draw. The Xiaoshu, does he pull Breathe into the ult now? No, not quite just yet. Good chunk there from Weibo across most of JDG. Draw blowing that flash is an important tool down. Turret finally falls in favor of JDG. Pays will push out that wave here now too, giving them some I suppose, extra vision in that top side. Light stayed in mid lane. Shen left alone here. Breathe, taking some damage, but Xiaohu has the fire cannon. Gold card has to flash to because otherwise the Q would have come through. TM might just ult him now. I think they might see an ult kill here. Xiaohu, where is he in all of this? Where's the next gold card? There was an ult on towards Scout at the top here, and the E lands. Flash away from Light. Xiaohu does have his own ultimate redemption, giving some healing back. No critical damage dealt so far, but Weibo coming out just the better of it in terms of HP bars. Losing the flash on Light is a problem. Xiaohu has himself the Hex Plate now. Very threatening. Again, the gold lead has stayed relatively stable, still around 5,000. This has been a chess match more than a League of Legends game. An extra dragon taken from Weibo, but JDG, they can afford to give one more over. The Atacon is still alive. The Baron is 2. Void Staff in for Scout. Pretty high damage build from him. Smite away by Tien onto the blue buff. Gives his whole team that buff. No third item from Pays just yet. That is a problem. He really needs that. Light on the other side. Skipped his boots. So we could get to that item quicker. Pays really does need to get towards that third item. If you get that Infinity Edge, perhaps you can shred through with the Ricochet and get the damage you need. There it is. The Infinity Edge coming through. 2.5 thousand gold in mid lane. At the end of the day, Victor is still Victor, and he's gone for a higher damage build. If he stays alive, has Seekers, has Flash, still going to be doing good damage. Arguably does more damage than the Rod of Ages Liadri's build, even though he's 2,000 gold down. LCK fights more than this. This series has been quite low action. It's quite strange to think about that. Breathe. How much damage can he do? Xiaohu not here to remove the front line just yet. Sure, Proto belting back. Doesn't have the flash to land the big engage. Gold card locked in, but not thrown. Good damage, though, just from random poke. Tien trying to land that as well. Xiaohu in the bush. Remember, can pull someone out of the play. Xiaohu roll. Oh, it's going to be really annoying for me. Where does that gold card go? Goes on to the Victor. No Baron aggroed onto him. Still, you see the chunk coming through. Poke a little bit better for Weibo than it is for JDG right now. Gold card onto Xiaohu. These gold cards are really scary. Xiaohu is left alone now, and the gold card is onto him. It's a dead Mordekaiser. Xiaohu, with the extra gold cards being so threatened, now he has the flank angle. There's nothing to remove Breathe from the play. Where is the Poppy ultimate? It goes nowhere because the Fury presses W. Pays getting damage down, but I don't think he'll be able to survive, and indeed he won't. Scout, the damage is not enough as Weibo slow roll the game into their first likely victory now in this series. Teleport through to the mid lane. And Weibo, play it slow, play it steady. The fast gameplay not working out earlier in this series. The slow gameplay working out so much better. And we will see a 4th game in the series. Weibo not to get swept in this one, as game 3 goes the way of Weibo. JDG couldn't make the removal composition work. The Mordekaiser Poppy couldn't quite punt people out at the right timing. And they will not get themselves their own lead 3-0. Game 4, here we come. Weibo, first win of the series for them. JDG, not cleanly closing things out. Reminder, they were in a very dominant series versus BLG in their first round of playoffs. They were reverse swept and forced down to the lower bracket, folks. I do very quickly need to go to the toilet, folks, so I'm going to go do that. We'll put things on break, and we'll wait until game 4 of the series. See you in just a minute. Shahu with the MVP. Solid game from him. Very good gold cards towards the end. Played things slowly. His TF was the hero of the deciding game versus Anyone's Legend as well. Of course, Anyone's Legend made their way through the other side of the bracket. And let's check on some adverts. Now we're done with our highlights. We have Invictus Gaming, Anyone's Legend in the other side of the lower bracket. That is ridiculous. Oh, man. Is that going to happen tomorrow? Invictus Gaming, Anyone's Legend tomorrow, folks. Holy moly. You'll be happy to know that in my current Gemini Cup, I am 26-4. Yeah, basically no one's ended up getting like good enough stats. It's very, very hard to train for this, but I had such a good legacy. I had such a good parent on Medjaro McQueen, which had 7 long, 8 stamina, which has really helped. So I've ended up getting two really good aces, and I've got Haru as well as my debuffer.
关闭车窗，空调调到22度。
好的，都搞定了。你好，很高兴我们重新
Ooh,
认
that
识。
could be scary though. I might lose this one, you know, folks. That's a very scary narration.
"把生活玩出新意，自由自在，灵感随行。
用个性的方式画世界，
让眼界突破边界，让远在天边，近在眼前，
让每一刻精彩不再等待。
上京东搜游戏台式机，游戏主机低至8折抢。
I just got blasted by Naruto Taishin. Sucks. Well, that's now 26-5. Yeah. Hey, Jay, good to see you. No more horse game. People don't like it as... I get a lot more complaints now around playoffs about playing it, so I'm just chilling during breaks now. Oh, there's a double debuff comp in here. Okay, do I win against double debuffers? That's really important to know, actually. Just about won against the double debuffers.
团战端感觉有的时候会打得很着急，然后还有到了个塔汉的时间，会处理的比较差。然后接下来的话就是做好这部分，然后玩一些开团阵容，再开的好一点就好。JDG 战队的话，我觉得他们的双 C 发育能力比较强，然后他们运营的比较好，他们整体的风格的话应该是比较偏发育的。然后面对他们的话，我们就做好前面的一 一些进攻，然后把中期的团战打好。对新选手印象最深的英雄应该是他的千珏吧，他的千珏LPL 其他人也不会选嘛，那就他玩的比较好，他自己非常有自信。然后如果面对这个的话，就要做好自己野区的前面一些防守，然后还有资源团去注意千珏这个英雄的特点就行。到败者组，我觉得也是证明比赛才刚刚开始嘛，我们还有机会。然后后面的比赛，我们要保持我们能够打得好的地方，然后再去改进那些我们处理不好的地方。我觉得我们还是挺有机会的。
On to stage we go again. Could be our last game of the day, folks. Reminder that Weibo JDG always goes the distance. So you can't help but wonder for this one. In terms of best of fives, LPL 24 Spring was a 3-game series, but then 24 regional finals, 3-2. 25 split 1, 3-2. Another 3-2 in split 2 playoffs. 3 5-game series back to back. Even in terms of the best of threes, there were a bunch of ones which went the distance as well. These two have been neck and neck for quite some time. You know the music. Time to dance. Kiana banned away from Tien, as is customary. Azir away from Scout. Ziggs, interestingly, away from Weibo as well. Not that they played too much of that. But surprised at that Ziggs ban, especially with the Azir already out. And the Lucian first pick for lane dominance. You have to question whether that be locked in alongside something like the Braum now. Now, for Light, what does he want to take into the Lucian? This is the kind of point in the draft where you start thinking about, well, game 4, do we have hyper carries available? Something like a Zeri, a Jinx. Can they survive lane versus the Lucian? The Jin's powerful in lane, can always go towards that as well. Occasionally plays the Caitlyn too, but goes towards the Jhin here. Jhin Karma, very strong in lane if you do want to be bullying something like a Lucian Braum. You can leave that support pick until 3rd, though. You can lock in something for jungle instead. Trundle gone. What would you pick in jungle here, actually? Perhaps not enough power picks in jungle to go towards, and instead Breathe gets his Ambessa. No Renekton to go into the Ambessa. No Sion either. They're the two most common matchups into it. Aurora and Rumble too. The Xiaoxi will have to think about his matchup into the Ambessa a little bit more. Tien has to play against Shun's Kindred now. The Braum does come in, which makes you wonder whether Chris will go towards something like the Karma. The Bard was hovered before. Bard also good in that laning phase. Chris has played much more games of it since that 23 Worlds Finals, which Crisp had a very poor Bard performance on. And the Bard is locked in. So Jhin Bard, powerful lane dominance, and then also some good long-range potential later into the game. Let me guess, Weibo comeback 3-2? Well, if history were to repeat itself, perhaps. These two teams, as we have been talking so much about, very much change things. Fourth place LCK has to play 4th place LPL, and I only found out about that today. Yeah, no, that's one of the changes to the World's format. Now, the argument is, both of those 4th seeds are likely better than the 3rd seeds of other regions. So one of them being knocked out in that matchup is actually not great for the overall power levels of Worlds. That would be one of the arguments. Second round, jungle is being banned away from TM. Top lane is away from Xiaoxu. Tickets went on sale yesterday and prices are reasonable. That's very good to hear. 450 to 500 yuan. Cool. Silas banned away from Tien, you presume, actually. Silas jungle has been a thing a little bit around the place. Ooh, that'd be a little different, wouldn't it? Blind pick, though. A little risky. Xiaohu locks in Lissandra. He's played it many times over the years, of course. You could still go towards something like Ahri for Scout. Ahri is okay, actually, into the Lissandra. A little risky. What else do you play? Think about tank top lanes too. The Udyr into the Ambassador. Not a bad matchup, actually, all things said and done. Udyr locked in for Xiaoxu. Powerful pushing power. Now that last pick for mid lane for Scout. What do you pick into that Lissandra now? You need something which can... Oh, it's the Swain. We saw that banned away the other day, you know. Swain locked in for JDG. You can Lissandra ult him all you want. If he pops his ult first, he is going to be very, very scary. Now, Lissandra wants to set up for someone. What is that setup? Now, we've heard some whispers of talent. It's not actually been seen. Zed a little worse into the Kindred because, of course, the Kindred can pop the ult pretty readily. There's nothing that Zed can do to stop the Kindred ultimate. It farms very quickly, though, and it will be Zed jungle. So double AD assassins, I suppose, of Ambassador and Zed, if you count the Ambassador as that. Very high single target burst from Weibo. But will they have enough to take down the Swain with Kindred and Braum peeling for them? The Kindred ultimate and the Braum passive. We're cooking here, folks. We are cooking. Personally, I think JDG walk away with a much easier composition to play in a lot of ways. I think that the Swain, if he ever lands an E, carries the game, really. That being said, Weibo, long-range catch potential. Bard ult into Jhin, Lissandra, and Bessa Zed finishing off the kills. Powerful. Zed is good into Kindred ult, you just ult at the end of it. If you don't use the Zed ult early to force the Kindred ult, Kindred out DPS is used the problem though. She gets to hop away from your melee, so you don't get your passive very easily. Coaches will bump fists. We'll get into game 4 of the day. Who won the draft? It's a hard question when you've got weird champions like this because you don't know how comfortable each team is on their drafts. Weibo I'd like to see playing things more slowly and scaling. They weren't exactly playing well at Fast League of Legends earlier. But it's Weibo, they change from game to game. They are as the seasons, ever changing. Zed ult is way lower cooldown, so trading ults is a win for Zed. Yeah, but if that happens in a team fight, you don't care about the cooldown. Level 1 shenanigans, a possibility. JDG on vision? Do they know they're on vision? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Bit of chunk on both sides, but no summoners blown. No Q left for Crisp there. They're still on vision. I'm not sure they know about this. Guys, I know you ought to walk in with something like the Braum into the Swain E. You can start E quite easily, but let's not throw ourselves into death here. Breathe coming round. Xiaohu on the side. Does he start with a Q or the W? Draw walking forward, trying to proc that Braum passive. Getting it onto Xiaohu, has to flash. Early flash for that. How much damage can they do here? They get the first blood. Xiaohu goes down, killed by Shun on his Kindred. One of his best champions of all time. Good damage back, Tian. Another Razor Shuriken into the back, but the damage has been done. On stack there for Scout and his passive too, actually. Xiaohu, no teleport, no flash. Not even sure what he started at his abilities, actually. First game of Swain for Scout. First game of Udyr for Xiaoshu on Udyr. This split. Heal used. Early level 2 hit by base. And he's just confidently 1v2ing. Of course, Draw had to back late as well. So solo XP for Pays. Doing well, actually, to blow the barrier there to give himself extra Vigilance passive. Level 2 now hit for Crisp, not for Light, interestingly. How intriguing. Xiaoshu, level 2 early up there as well. Got a part of that assist. Flash forwards, of course, to confirm the kill onto Xiaoshu. The Xiao on Xiao violence. Anyway, what the hell, Swain versus Lissandra? The last time we saw that Swain was a little earlier in the year. RNG versus IG. I do remember that, actually. I remember that. And actually, Rookie did really well on the pick. I think that was game 2 or game 3 of that series. I remember it, actually. Because game 1 was not great from IG, and then they played that and completely smashed him. This is our Season 8, Season 9 Season 9 mid lane matchup, wasn't it? We had like, Silas, Lissandra, and stuff like that all the time, and a bit of Swain popping out of the place, too. Shun. No mark on that top scuttle. Didn't want to wait for it either, interestingly, because sometimes you do wait until the bot scuttle's been killed, and then you get the mark on the top side. But Shun just goes, look, I'm not going to slow down my farming enough for this. Going to give up that first mark. End of the day, Kindred needs marks and items. This Lucian getting a lot of solo XP. Braum losing out a lot on that on the other side, though. Good little mark onto Scout there. Onto Xiaohu from Scout there. Tien waiting for Shun. Double Shuriken trade will really hurt here. Ah, but misses all of them. And Shun walks at him. Swain now walking over to Shun, making sure he's hopping around in that W for the lower cooldown. Scout, 10 CS lead in the mid lane. Will go down to about 5. With the wave crashing in, but Xiaohu not having the nicest time of things. Breathe, caught out on top side, has flash, so realistically, unless the Q lands, which it does, would have thought it was only going to be that. Perhaps I underestimated it. Pays one last auto. Won't be enough. Tower shots taken, but pays no more abilities. Breathe. Lives at the cost of his summoner. Think this was a terrible Kindred early rotation? I don't know. I think that having a Kindred ult early for a Swain to just sit in and be unkillable is really, really, really bad for the side of Weibo. They need to one-shot the Kindred in almost every fight, otherwise everyone else becomes an issue. You know, you save your Braum ult and the Swain pop until the ult's just about to time out. That's rough after that wave collected by Pays here on the top side. Interesting that Pays is choosing to let the minions damage the tower. Taking about half a plate there. Wanting the wave to stay here for as long as possible so we can slow push over to the other side. Holding the wave a little close towards their tower. Kindred coming up now. Ooh, they could go for a big play here. If they can get the Braum Bastard down, that is very, very scary. Now, Chris does have both summoners. Will he be able to survive even with both? The magical journey not taken. Missed his boarding time for that flight. Chris goes down for the second kill of the game. Still no marks for Shun, by the way. Struggled to get any so far. And 2 kills now after Shun, even though no marks have been claimed. Ooh. Barrier popped by Light, although the shots went elsewhere, actually. Braum passive up here again, and Shun's just walking up again. Braum passive. Once more, there's a Swain W, and Pays flashes forwards. A culling to finish off the trade. Turret shot will not be enough to threaten Shun. Scout, great roam in the W, the vision of Empire, helping secure the kill as Light and Crisp. The duo lane, which started the year together, well, started last year together, rejoined this year after Chris came back from top esports. Getting blasted in this early game. Pays and draw. I am not going to lie, folks. I didn't have a lot of belief in draw. I thought this guy was pretty mid. But this series has been good from him. I liked his Rakan earlier. Thought his Lulu was pretty decent too. And now we see him on the Braum. You know what? Good value from him and Pays. Pays sidestepping that W. Light misuse of the barrier, really. Thought the extra double tap would come in. Didn't see where the shot was going. And then they just left alone. No one's here to defend them. Just getting brutally out-traded. Brutally out-traded. No one in position to do much. And clear love there. In the coaching staff booth for JDG. Happy with that 2v2. Dragon is alive. Grubs are alive too. Actually, Draw might need to W over the wall. Not going to get rooted there. Tien Ooh, is spotted. Shun, a little bit of damage onto him. Has his ult to trade 4 Tiens. If it does go really nasty. Shun now has 1 singular mark, by the way. No grubs taken just yet. Often very often taken on spawn, but not here. Good vision control from Weibo on the bot side of the map. Shun's recall got himself all of the components for Kraken Slayer. It's a good Kraken Slayer game, actually, on the whole. There's no hyper tank you need to kill. This is an okay Kraken Slayer into... I wonder if there should be a Kraken Slayer into Triforce game, because the extra HP from Triforce makes it so much easier for you to live through the Lissandra craziness. Also think Draw should think about maybe going Mikhail's for Shun. Redemption, very powerful. Likely to go that first, but we shall see. So I think Shun should go Kraken Slayer, Triforce, and then a Merc Treads as well. Hope that you get the feats of strength and get the empowered Merc Treads. Oof. Nice trade from Scout. Every time you land that pull, it does give you the extra bit of HP from your stacks as well. Landing the W as well. Weibo's struggling to get control. As fast as this Zed has been at clearing, hasn't really provided that much value. Scout, now he could be in a bit of trouble here. He has a little bit of HP. He's walked up too far, though. Flashes, and it won't matter. Bad flash from Scout. Doesn't bother popping the ultimate. The ultimate might have helped with a bit of regen, but no, not here. Good flash from Xiaohu. First kill goes towards Tien. Scout should have just died there, really. I mean, the reaction timing wasn't bad. It's just the wrong reaction, you know? Eclipse now brought up with that kill for Tien. First item secured for him. Is that a mark on that boss goal? It is. Okay, so that's going to be 2 marks now for Shun. There was one on Gromp. Gromp was killed, went over towards the Scuttle Crab, so 2 for Shun. Of course, reminder that it's 4, then 7, then 10 for your range increases, so 4, then every 3 after that. $1,000 gold for JDG, but it's early into the game, so that does matter. A significant amount, to be honest. Rylai's first for Scout. I love to see the Rylai's first. I think Rylai's is Swain's most broken item, by far. Glad to see more people go towards it. We did see people try Blackfire and Leandries, and realistically, what you're trying to do is catch people in the meat grinder. Weibo have a short-ranged team. Even Lissandra's fairly short-ranged. If they ever get tagged by that Rylai's, they're likely going to stay tagged by that until the end of the fight, or Swain is dead. Dragon taken by JDG, easy take for them. Here's a mark on the Gromp, but Shun can't really go over there safely. 3 grubs to JDG, first Dragon, objective gameplay going well for them. Pays at a scary point of power as well with the first item. 3 grubs helps him tunk down that tower a little bit more. DOT applied to it. Weibo need to find a way to break JDG's control of this game. There is a Kindred walking around at mega HP, and Shun does have a Ruby Crystal inventory, so I think that will be a Triforce coming through next. I think you might even see Triforce into QSS, you know, just to make sure that he really doesn't get gunned down by the Lissandra ultimate. Ooh, Culling nasty onto Light, takes him down to about 2/3 HP. Number of members on top side. Xiaoxu needs to be fairly careful. And no flash on Xiaoxu. Sorry, Xiaohu. Xiaohu. It's going to DM ahead, and I tell you. Xiaoxu just collecting this wave here, making sure that there's no extra bonus for Weibo. The full plate. I'm not sure who got the gold from that plate, but if anyone did, actually. Xiaoxu misses the cannon. He's even missed a couple of them over this series. Not noticed a couple over time. Shun sweeping through bot side, pushing in towards bot side tower. 3 grubs on Scout makes it much easier for him to get value out of this. Xiaoxu, okay. Lissandra Zed, it is a scary combo. And it will be a quick kill for Tien. And Bard, actually. Bard ends up picking up that kill. Maybe not where you want that gold to go. Will it lead to actually the first turret, though? No. So Xiaohu gets another kill. It's good participation. Setting up with his ult. Lissandra's Ed. It was a combo before, you know, in the past. Gun down the first target, lock him up, and then get the Lissandra passive rolling. The first turret to the side of JDG. Good gold to the side of Scout and Pays, who shared a lot of the plates there. And they get the feats of strength. Mark for Shun has 3 now. Marked Tien, worth noting. Scout going from one side of the map to the other. 800 gold advantage over Xiaohu. Has the 2 assists himself. There's a teleport behind him coming from Ambessa. Scout doesn't have flash just yet. He takes down a play. He's going to die for this one, you have to feel. Does he pop the ultimate? Yes, he does. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, though. He's healing a fair amount. Credit to him. He can run pretty well. The Rylai's really helping, actually, forcing the flash from Breathe. Scout will die, but forces the extra summoner out. JDG, do they have an answer anywhere else on the map? Hayes is waiting to see if he can jump over the wall, get some culling damage down. Not able to do so. Weibo playing fairly well, actually, around the CC and the chase down potential of their solo laners. That being said, they are still behind 1,500 gold. But JDG getting more damage and more gold from the towers. Weibo getting more the actual, I suppose, the kill value over the last minute or two. Shun building up towards his likely Triforce. Upgraded boots available for JDG from the feats of strength. That could be really important, given how much Weibo really do want to get that first kill in a fight. The upgraded Merc Treads, the upgraded armor shoes as well. Make a lot of value. They do get a lot of value with that extra shield onto the burst combo that comes towards them. Herald started up. Weibo yet to show us anything more than split picks. They can get the single kills pretty well, but what about the other stuff out of that? Oh dear. Scout. Oh, he's not had an easy time, has he? Tien will flash. Oh, but there's a flash from Shun. Lamb's Respite. Helping save Scout. It takes a flash from Shun and from Scout, but finally Scout will live through an assassination attempt on the side lane. He'll recall. Herald was taken by JDG. Vision over the wall. Now, Scout does need to be a little careful here. There is a chance that he could still die here. Teammates will protect him as he goes towards the tower, though. The Scout will clear the wave safely. JDG, just the one turret for them so far, but Herald will help them take another if they find a good angle for it. Ah, there's a mark on the skull. Hang on a second, there's a mark on the skull grab on bot side. How's that happened? Perhaps this is one of the few camps that were alive? If Shun can get this, he gets himself an easy 4th mark. I don't think that Weibo would have expected that one at all. If you can get the smite down on this and he has it available, they want to burst it. There you go, 4 marks for Shun. Great range increase for him, especially against a low-range composition of Weibo. If they don't cleanly catch the Kindred, Kindred can do a lot of work. Dragon started. Shun has his smite up, had the second stack of that available. Low HP will be taken by Weibo. First one for them taken in this game. 1-1, we have a Hextech Rift. So, 4th mark traded for Dragon, basically. I don't think they mind that. 4th mark for Kindred is really, really nice. Takeaway of the grubs there as well. Shun very quickly taking that one away. Shun, a player who came onto JDG at the start of the year to, I don't know, mixed outcome, really. Or mixed response, I suppose. Because, like, damn, he's left BLG. But also, actually, JDG picking up Scout and Shun. What can they do? Hang on. Xiaohu safely going to get out there with a path over the wall. Frozen path. With this team of JDG, I don't think they've matched the expectations set for them. They do have this playoffs to see if they can finally ramp up into this year's split. So it's IG are in a similar situation too with their super team they've built. Trade of side lanes. JDG have the 3 grubs. That makes it much easier for them. A mark onto the grubs. That'll be mark 5 for Shun. Extra attack speed on the Q. Percent HP damage on the W. And execute on the E. Turret on the other side from Breathe. Slower to kill it. Wants to make more of his wave die to the tower. JDG doing a great job of pushing up vision into the enemy jungle now. Scout died a lot on side lanes. This split, actually, is one of the easiest ways to beat JDG is attack Scout. He'll probably die on a side lane. Damage onto Tien. No objectives up just yet. Atacon in a minute and a half. Jin W lands onto the ball, but since the shield doesn't matter that much, Control Ward will spot out the members there. They spot the wall which they were stood on. Fight for that vision control a little bit more. Ooh, Xiaohu using the Protobell to get out there. Not sure if his E was on cooldown. I'm pretty sure it was available. A little bit of hope. Lissandra with the Protobell gives them some extra range on targets. E just missing from Scout there. We were saying even in Champion Select how important that Swain E can be for random pick potential. Triforce completed for Shun. I really want to see him to go towards a... Oh, hang on. That's a good W there with a Rylai's on it too. Forcing a flash from Crisp. The Shadow from Tien not too bad from him in terms of damage coming through. This should open up the mid lane turret, though. Xiaohu, I don't think he goes for an engage here. No, he doesn't. There's a mark put onto Tien as he ults forwards and tries to get something back. Can he escape, though? I'm not so sure. Has no flash. He'll survive with the redemption. Not nearly as much to be said about Crisp, who's gone down. JDG playing around there. Swain, Kindred. On the other side, the Lissandra Z. Two very different mid-jungle TV2s as Sam's come in to spot the game. Has gone to a game 4. Yeah, on the whole, though, JDG getting the better of the early game. 5 marks for Shun. He's doing quite well in that regard. Gone towards the Triforce second one for once instead of something like the goddamn Collector. Kept that extra HP in, your boy. Perhaps against that Lissandra. The 3 grubs helping him do this as well. So nasty. Getting jumped on with the extra follow-up of the culling and the Vision of Empire. Tien lucky to make it out alive. Atacon now spawning. And perhaps this game changes its tune around that.
Do you want me to tag in and join you again, mate? Or are you feeling
I
pretty happy on your own?
I don't want to shift the chairs around, really.
Super fair.
It's all good. You enjoy your own G2 casting over on the other side. Sam's got another stream going on right now. I know, crazy. We can actually cast different things. Works like that.
With a win.
Damn, very good stuff. Very good stuff. Atacon being set up for... Ah, they don't spot the ward just in the back of the Baron pit there. Atacon started up. Showing good single target damage now onto stuff like the Atacon. Stepping towards it. Bardot used to check. Make Shun go invulnerable. Oh, Brando. No, Brando. Blech. Bromel use not so much avail. I don't know if this Atacon's going down quite quickly enough. Perhaps it is. Tien could potentially shadow in for a smite. It's going into 3k. 2k coming down. And the smite goes the way of the Kindred. Here comes the Swain and things get messy. Lucian is dead already. Says a numbers advantage, but the Swain in the Kindred ult is causing issues. Xiaoshu trying to chase forwards. The Jin is alive. How much can Scout do? He is trying to keep himself alive. The Rylai's burning. The Swain is just so hard to deal with, so hard to escape. Scout flashing forwards, and that is the danger of the Lissandra into this matchup. You can't always close them down. Scout counterpicking, and with an 8,000 damage fight, the rest of his team will die. The rest of the team will die. It's a 4 for 3, but with the Atacon going over, JDG walk away with 37 petals to 5. JDG very much walking away okay from that trade. This is the issue with the Kindred with the Swain. It's a good pick onto Pays. Pays dies immediately. It's a very, very nice start to the fight from Weibo, even though they lose the objective. Then things get messy. Lamb's Respite, Swain going on to everyone. Even without an AD carry, Scout can carry this fight. This was always the danger. You think, okay, well, maybe you can force out the Kindred ult easily. Well, if Swain is stood inside it, that is no longer a trade you're willing to take. You're a low-range comp. If you have to close the distance and Scout gets onto you, yeah, you're dead. Dragon now taken by JDG. 2-level advantage in the jungle. I suppose it's level, really, but as it stands right now, those the petals doing so much work. Almost a full level for JDG across the board, besides top lane, mid lane in a turret taken, bot lane in a turret falling soon as well. Baron hasn't spawned yet, so that's why they don't have that to push in with. This could be the end of playoffs for Weibo. Wouldn't be the end of year. If they lose this series, they will go into 6th in regionals. They will start from the lowest rung on the regional ladder and have to fight through 2 best-of-5s to get to Worlds. Tian. Trying to take a blue buff away on the other side. Shun at 6 marks. If he gets another one, he'll get the second range increase. And, of course, each stat gives you extra bonus stats as well, as we highlighted earlier. I think Shun is going towards a Collector next, by the way. Not sure. Mathematically, just go for the Lord Dams. It's just a better item later into the game, mathematically speaking. Xiaoxu walking over vision. Tian will recall. Upgraded boots sure to come through from JDG soon as well. Defensive boots across the board. Couple of Tabby, couple of Merc Treads. Mikhail's first for Joy wasn't that redemption. We did call about that being quite powerful here. It's very nice here. Very, very nice for the side of JDG. Not needing to have their own cleansers now. Good vision control from JDG across the map. Weibo struggling to keep up in that department. Blue buff seal from Shun. What do Weibo do at this point? Hope they can find someone overextended. Breathe on the Ambessa. Maybe they can make the difference. Ambessa is a hella good scaling champion. Mark 7 for Shun as he steals the Raptor camp. Second range increase up that. It's 50, then 25 after, so they have an extra 75 range. So they're 575 range now, I believe. Oh no, what's their range base? Is it 520 or 500? It's pretty low on the whole. Anyway, getting up there now. Oh, Tian getting decent damage onto Pays out of Fog of War. Scary, that. Always scary is Lucian, where you try to dash away from damage. You press your E button and still take the damage, and then you're down your escape, and you're still low HP. That's the scary bit. Baron spawning now. No Atakan to throw around anymore from JDG. LPL does love doing a bit of that, but it's been clean take from JDG in this one. Scout has Leandries and Rylise, and looks like they're going towards a Blackfire Torch as well, which means they'll have the double burn at that point, and Jesus Christ, that's going to be scary. Even Xiaoxi's not doing bad on the tank front. Uda with Fimbulwinter is very, very strong. Not as strong as a Scion or a Cassante, or I suppose the Ornn as well. Hang on a second, not bad on Straw. Self Mikhails to make sure he can W out to safety. Did have Exhaust and Flash available, doesn't have to use either. Perhaps an angle for Weibo now that they know that the Mikhails is down for the next 2 minutes or so. Three items for Breathe. Is that enough? Maybe we get some Ambassador shenanigans. Maybe. I think it's becoming a bit of a slimmer shot for Weibo, though. I think that JDG get very hard to deal with as the game goes on. Now, the Jin can do bits and pieces of damage. There's no... So the hyper tanks on the other side. I mean, Uda is not a hyper tank. He's a tank. He's not a hyper tank. Weibo are going to really struggle to get damage down in the right places at the right time. Head-to-head, JDG versus Weibo. It's 9-8 all-time to Weibo in terms of series. 24-24 in games all-time. These two teams really do have a close head-to-head. This year's been strange for both teams. Both have fallen from glory a little bit. I didn't know Swain could be this strong into low-range compositions in a good lane matchup. Swain is disgusting. So disgusting. Can pin people in place with the Kindred. Can use the Kindred ultimate to do nasty things. Scout, much better series than the last ones he's had in playoffs. He's had some... Hang on a second. Brown Besser. I don't know if they know... Everyone else is coming up there. They're going onto the Swain. Now Shun is in range. Disengage coming through from Weibo. Tian, does he have to hop to his shadow? The E coming forward. Jesus, damage coming from Shun. Did not that damage coming back from Light, though. Weibo, do they think they can get something better after this point? There's a catch onto Scout in the front line. He doesn't have ult now. And Shun is out of the picture. Where is the Kindred ultimate? Shun dies! Shun dies! Shun has flashed and ulted. Big mistake. Pays having to carry the fight. Can he get it? No. Weibo threading the needle and punishing Shun's massive misplay. Does not flash. Hops forward and dies instead. Oh, Shun. What a mistake to make on your iconic champion. Oh, man. What a misplay. Ends up being a 3-for-2. Xiaohu and Crisp going down for Shun. Pays and draw. Massive mistake as Shun does not flash in position to use his ultimate. Dragon is alive and Weibo will be able to take that for free. What a mistake from Shun. The initial pick onto Scout is disengaged from because they realize, oh god, everyone's around the corner. But what happens is Scout ends up losing his ultimates. And when the Swain ult is down, you feel a lot more healthy then. as Weibo. Great damage from Light. Shun should not have gone that far forwards. The Bard ult to separate out Scout again. Had flash, chose not to flash it. That was probably a mistake. And then this is just unforgivable from Shun. Doesn't spot the Zed over the wall, and he hops into the Shuriken, and he dies. He hops into the Shuriken over the wall and dies. Perhaps just flash and ult that, or ult early. He didn't see the Shuriken coming. Perhaps not a mistake from him. Perhaps just Tien, a great prediction. Now Baron's being started. They have the Kindred ult to flex around this too. Zed's not going to be here in time, I don't think. Bard ult will buy some time though. What is going to be the plan? Breathe over the wall. Does it go down to low HP? Where is the smite? Where is it coming in? Zed steals it! Zed steals it! The smite lands true from Tien. It's a mess afterwards. The fight going the way of JDG though. 2 dead from JDG, but their damage is alive. 2 alive from Weibo. Can they escape? Lights. Can he get all the way? Shun trying to hop forwards. Hop, skip. Can he get over the wall? A Weibo Baron steal. Shun jumping forwards potentially again. Good Bard steal there too. Not bad damage from Light, but can they save the game? The inhibitor might fall here. I think JDG might try and end the game with these 3. Scout has ultimate. Jin'll being loaded up here. Does Scout have a W to throw it onto him? Scout can... Oh, that's a problem. The clan's coming through. Hopping forwards. Decent damage onto Pays and onto Shin. Using the ultimate to keep the minions alive. They can keep one Nexus turret in. There's a see a teleport coming through as well. JDG wants the end of this series. Light. Is he bright enough? No. Scout puts the Zhonya's on. The Nexus will fall. And despite the heroics, Weibo will lose 3-1. JDG win game 4. JDG, they muddle their way to the finish line. And Weibo's playoffs end here, despite felling anyone's legend earlier into the playoffs bracket. They go down to top esports and then JDG. And they will end in 7th, 8th position. JDG will go forwards to play the winner of Invictus Gaming versus anyone's legend. JDG will move into top 5. Clutch. Maybe, is clutch the word for it? I think it's got spooky around the end there. I think it's got really spooky around the end there. But hey, a win is a win, so they say. JDG. 1 step forwards. Well, thank you everyone for joining me today. And Sam as well. We always appreciate your company here watching the LPL in all its majesty, horror, glory, and everything in between. My name is Nymaera. I was joined by Initialise. We bring you LPL action because there is no official broadcast anymore, and we're professional casters who've cast this region for a great long time now. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. Okay, well, Sam's not answering. I don't know what Sam's doing in terms of his streaming. But if you're on YouTube, the show will end shortly. And if you're on Twitch, we'll find someone to raid you over to. Thank you, everyone, for joining us once again. Okay, folks, we'll find somewhere to raid you over to. Sam's done for the day. So thank you everyone for watching. If you're on YouTube, the show will end out. We'll find a raid for everyone.